it's part of your training. It's part of your training in set-apartness. It's part of what your parents have instilled to you that is part of your culture. And you can now go forward and say, thank you. It's okay to say thank you, but guess what? You can expect this of everybody like me that says they're an Israelite. It's more than just me. It's more little black and brown children that behave and act like this. I am not an anomaly. I'm royalty. I do come from a set-apart seed, but this is how everybody like me is going to present themselves when they get in front of, when you come across them, right? And that will begin to change the narrative about us as a people, but it also begin to change the narrative about us as Israelites specifically and what they may have seen on some social media site or what they read on the ADL website or what they see on the news or anything like that. But
Shabbat shalom, y'all.
Shabbat shalom, everybody coming in the room. How's everybody doing this Shabbat morning? This Shabbat afternoon? Good to see y'all. Hallelujah. All right, fam. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think we got all our technical issues, including me eating off camera, out of the way.
Dang.
Fix my mic.
How y'all doing this Shabbat, this beautiful Shabbat day?
Y'all all quiet.
I know.
Quiet. Why y'all so quiet?
All right, let's do roll call. What y'all cook? I'm gonna tell you what I made because I had to taste all week. My cousin had posted a picture of her she had made some chicken soup. And I said, "Ooh, that chicken soup looks good." I'm making up a big old pot of chicken soup for Shabbat. And I made some chicken soup. And I don't normally toot my own horn.
Very good. That's what I was eating.
Good.
Extremely good.
It was good. What y'all make? Coty Tina, since your mic open. Guess that means you should go first.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She like, is that what that means?
Roll call.
I know.
I thought we established this last Saturday that I'm at granny status, so I'm retired.
Hey.
Well,
not knocking you.
So whatever my hey, but I think I will do chicken and noodles tomorrow. I've been having a taste for that lately. So
that was so good. It like
yeah.
sauteed that But what I did this time that I don't normally do, see, I normally go ahead and I normally do a whole chicken, but this time I did because I was running late as usual on Friday. I sauteed some chicken breasts and I started them off in my pot that I was going to use for my soup so that brown chicken goodness can get at the bottom of it. But so I sauteed them in the skillet, but I finished them in the oven while I came back and marinated and sauteed all my vegetables and that chicken fat and stuff. Then I let that start out. I let that be my base. Ooh, that soup was good.
I got a question for you. And you can add this into what you're ready to say. If I'm understanding you correctly, you telling me then that when we hit that grandparent stage, we ain't got to cook no more for the Shabbat. Is that what you're saying? Sir? I just want to make sure I get that on record.
Right.
Okay. Okay. See, at first, let me explain this real quick. I kind of went on strike about 3 years ago.
Okay.
So I had called myself working it out with my daughter. Okay, either you go grocery shopping and I cook, or I cook and you go grocery shopping.
Heard.
She looked at me like she didn't want to do nothing neither. See, my daughter suffers from only child syndrome. So therefore,
Poor child.
I
a
was the
poor
only
child.
child, so
So
I know.
right, exactly. And she thought mom was gonna cook for her forever, and that wasn't gonna happen. So therefore, every now and then when I feel like it, I'll get in there and I'll crack an egg. But tomorrow I feel like because we've been like negative wind chill here in the shy, and them chicken and noodles hit the spot,
That's right.
So
That's right.
right, exactly. So I feel like it tomorrow, so I'll do it tomorrow. But yeah, if she
Okay.
does something, then she does something. If she don't, I don't feel a need to cook every day anymore. She's a mom, she's a wife, she has 3 children, so let her do what she do. I
I heard
did
that.
it.
Yeah,
I heard that.
I heard that. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you because I got 8, and
Oh,
I'm thinking about striking tomorrow. Mike,
right.
Our children
Especially
cook.
if they're capable.
yeah,
Yeah, we gonna be honest. Our children cook, so
yeah.
we cook, but from our oldest all the way down to our youngest, if I can restrain her from going in there and trying to add her motherly instinct on the situation, and you just step back, they can actually cook, and every one of them could cook something that's pretty good.
They do. They each cook very well. They do. They
And
like
that's the killing
specialize at something. Go ahead, Coach.
And that's the killing part about it is my daughter is an excellent cook. My son-in-law is an excellent cook.
So
Now
they
my
just like that.
son-in-law will, he'll get in there and do his thing, but my daughter, she just spoiled. And okay, I might have did it, but I'm done.
Gotcha,
I
gotcha.
understand that. I understand that. I just like the idea of striking. Just I'm going on strike. I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoy it and don't feel no guilt about it.
That's the part right there.
That is the part.
Not feeling no guilt. I don't feel guilty about none of the stuff I do to my children
He showed though.
or about my children. I'm completely guilt
He
free.
showed though. I be the one like, oh, but the children. But the children, I just so worried about the children. He be like, them children be all right. They ain't gonna happen to them children.
They will live. I
Damn.
promise you.
Shabbat shalom, everybody coming into the room. Shabbat shalom, Koti Christina. Shabbat shalom, Koti Kapora. Shabbat shalom, Koti Bree. Shabbat shalom, Koti Keisha. Shabbat shalom, Koti Keisha again. Shabbat shalom, Koti Tahisha. Shabbat shalom, Shanti baby. Shabbat shalom, Aki Daquan. Shabbat shalom, Koti Leslie. Shabbat shalom, Koti Tina.
That roll call.
We in here.
Shabbat shalom.
We in here, Hebrew deep.
So everybody survived that freeze. Hallelujah. We was praying for y'all. I pray y'all was praying for us. It was cold. Yes, indeed.
Sometimes I feel like I'm betraying. Like, we from the Shy, right? And so we know what cold is. Like, the Shy, you get cold. Like, here, cold is anything below freezing. So anything below like 32 degrees, they like, oh my goodness, it's going to be 20 tomorrow. It's going to be 20. And it's a great big deal. But like in the Shy, I remember when it was like 20 below. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here, this past week or two, we hit single digits. That's cold for here.
That's cold for here.
But here it feels like temperatures in the single digits. But here that's cold, especially if you've been in the South long enough that you've thrown out your Chicago winter.
I think I have.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah.
I kept one just in case, which I had to pull out and dust off because it's been that long since I put it on. And all my children and my wife was like, "Oh, I ain't seen that in years." But yeah, you need that on.
I remember I finally threw away my Chicago. I had a Chicago. My husband bought me a coat when he had bought me like my last that was our last year or two in Chicago, and that coat was like bear fur. And I'm talking about you put that coat on and it kept you warm in whatever degrees below. And I finally threw that coat, that brown fur hood. Yeah, and I finally threw that coat away like a couple of years ago. But I was like, man, I was holding on to it just in case. But it took up too much space in the closet, and I just went on and got rid of it. But
in Chicago, man, it was not just a winter. I need a new coat for the winter. Shopping, it was how I'm finna step out this winter. It was a status symbol. Knew it's fur around the collar, fur around the wrist. Yeah. Shabbat Shalom, Koti Gabor, come on up.
Well, at least y'all are, used to stuff like that. I'm from Compton, California. We don't do this type of stuff.
Right.
Okay. I remember when I showed up for basic training. I went to basic training in North Carolina in February. So that was my first time ever experienced that. And I remember the first day I showed up to PT, I had like every piece of equipment that they had gave me that was a cloth. I had it on, right?
I believe it. I believe it.
The drill sergeants is looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm cold. Like, they was like, this ain't cold. I'm like, look, I'm from California, okay? Anything above 50 degrees,
oh my god.
I mean, below 50 degrees, it's freezing for us. Now, Georgia, this is some cold I haven't ever experienced being in.
Oh yeah.
We hit the single digits. Like right now, it's only like 12 degrees outside.
Oh.
So, but I lost all my my hot weather crop. Like I just lost everything. So like the other night, it's like 12 degrees outside, and I'm out there like crying in my little greenhouse, and it was so cold that my tear turned. It froze on my. Listen.
Oh.
I can't do this. I'm like, I gotta go get me some furry leggings, with the fur on the inside though. You know what I'm saying? Like I seen that because I told my husband, I was like, and we talking about going to North Carolina. And he's like, yeah, you know what happened the last time you was in North Carolina and it was cold like that. Cause y'all laughing, but I told the higher up like stuff like this. I used to be like, look, I'm black. We don't do cold. They looking like you can't say that. I'm telling you facts. I don't do good in cold.
Wow.
I can't do it, but I'm learning.
Oh, you got a greenhouse coat, huh? I'm ready to start. My greenhouse vegetables next week. Next week, Monday.
I have three going on.
Really? Are you still growing food or no?
Y'all got me hooked. Yeah. Okay. I'm still growing everything. That's what I'm saying. I just lost watermelon, tomatoes, all kind of peppers.
You were still able to grow watermelon?
Yes, because what I did was
Georgia.
But I still got with my greenhouse, I got everything temperature control. So I got like heaters in there.
Yeah.
I have grow lights. I have grow lights that like stand up like with three heads and everything. So everything is good. So it's like I run them, I run my lights in the daytime so that they still get in full spectrum sun. Yeah. I have like 2 heaters in there that's at like 85 degrees.
Oh wow.
So it was. Yeah, I've been over here doing silent stuff. I'm telling y'all, I'll be looking at your videos.
But
you started it. You started it. You
started. Really?
Yes, you started.
I got a little heater in there just to keep my plants, my trees alive. Like my trees that can't go below a certain, like my trees that can't freeze. I got a heater in there that can keep my trees from freezing, but that's about it. So like it don't get warm enough for me to do like watermelon and tomato in there ever. Like I mean during the winter, but like for like all my winter vegetables, I'm gonna get them jumping off Monday. Like I already I got 2 greenhouses. I got one greenhouse in my writer's shed just to grow my little seedlings. Like I started all my seedlings already. I'm finna plant my bok choy. I'm gonna have my bok choy going in the greenhouse. I'm gonna have my kale trees. I already got the kale trees. Kale trees I've been established, but the heat to keep my kale trees alive because this next week I'm gonna plant the kale trees in bigger pots so that I can get trees. So I'm gonna have kale coming from trees. It's gonna be crazy, but it's a thing. Like kale will grow into a big old tree if you let it. And you could have a full tree full of kale whenever you get ready. I got 4.
I love kale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can't never have enough.
I gotta stop myself. Don't even get me started talking about plants. He was telling some, you know how much plant talk I had to cut out the video?
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, because I have one of my greenhouses is full of like you said, the cold growing stuff. So I have collards, I have
yeah. Do you plant them in the
scallions, I have
ground?
red onion.
Or
No,
pot?
I use all containers.
Okay.
I get grow bags.
You gotta do a video.
And they
Coach
have
want to see it.
I be showing because Coach Latasha be on my head, but she be like, show it, I love it. So I be taking videos. So like during the steps or whatever, like before
Yeah.
the freeze, I had just got tomatoes on there. I had like 12 tomatoes on the vine. I was so excited. I'm like, tomatoes growing in
Yeah.
January, you know. And then the freeze came and yeah,
That is pretty
I'm
good
so
though.
sad.
Tomatoes in
Yeah.
January.
Yeah. Tomatoes in
Outdoors.
January is beautiful. Like
Yeah.
I ain't been able to unless, it's just like if I didn't have all these children, I think I could afford to maybe heat my greenhouses. But
You gotta heat them too though, huh?
I gotta heat them children. You know what I'm saying? So
That's the problem.
somebody gotta lose. Now, sometimes I debate whether or not to just go for my plants, tell my children wear coats in the house. But I'm a mom.
I'm changing the subject.
I know.
Well, no, I'm just curious.
I'm surprised you let it go on this long.
Oh goodness. You always paint me out to be. I'm not the ogre she paints me out to be.
Mhm.
No, I'm just curious. I posted a scripture that I woke up to uh, in the midst of a study that was playing last night. And it was really heavy on my heart for several reasons. So it was just right on time. And, I don't believe in coincidences. I feel like that's how y'all work. But I shared it in the group text and on Facebook. I'm wondering, did y'all catch that scripture? And
What's a good scripture?
in Ecclesiasticus, Sirach. You had the wrong Bible?
You got the wrong Bible?
No, I'll explain to you what's going on.
Yeah.
You could either looked in Ecclesiasticus or Sirach.
Yeah.
Depending on if you got a Apocrypha, you could look in Sirach. If you got a KJV, 1611 KJV, I believe it'll be Ecclesiasticus.
Yeah, not to get it mixed up with Ecclesiastes.
Right.
Ecclesiastes.
Right.
You got Ecclesiasticus and Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes is what's in the scriptures.
So it was, for those of you who didn't, it was Ecclesiasticus 30, 1 through 13.
Ecclesiasticus is in a Apocrypha.
Okay.
So you would have to have, I think the only King James version that has the Apocrypha is the 1611 version that still have the Apocrypha in it. But after that, they separated the Apocrypha from the King James version.
You would have to get it separate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. But if y'all get a chance, check that out. I'm curious. Those of us with children and those of us that are, looking to train our children up in the way that they should go. Sometimes, you feel like you wonder whether or not you're being too hard on your children. Sometimes your Isha may feel like you're being too hard on them. But I don't feel like I'm being too hard on them. Sometimes your children may feel like it. But I thought that that reading was a good explanation of what's required, and for what reason. We've been talking a lot about being set apart. We've been talking a lot about to our children, I'm saying, about separating yourself from the world when you go out of the house. In the house, it's beautiful. In this fellowship, on Shabbats, everybody's set apart. Do we behave and act the same way when we go out during the week? Is the question. Because I don't want to say that's when it counts, but what I'm saying and what book is saying, what scripture is saying is that is when we are expected to show the example of what the royal priesthood looks like, what the set apart people look like, how they behave. And the examples that we were giving our children is, we homeschool, so our children don't go to public school. So I know it's a little different. If your children go to public school, then they're getting constant feedback from students, be quiet, from students, from teachers, so on and so forth, about how they act and how they behave compared to everybody else. Well, since we homeschool, our children really don't get much of that unless they get it from their peers who they go to martial arts with, or if they go to, do something like visit the observatory. There are these activities that you can do with your children, homeschool children, and groups of homeschool parents get together and take their children to activities like a field trip. Outside of that, it's not until they get their first job or go to college that now someone is saying, you're a little different, something about you. And what we are trying to really drill home with them is that thing that they're talking about, that thing that makes them say, I like that you're accountable, or I like that you don't come to the job with excuses. I like that you show up on time. I like that, I can trust you to count a drawer down and don't have to worry about money walking off. It's not that it's you and it's unique to you. It's that it's part of your training. It's part of your training in set apartness. It's part of what your parents have instilled to you that is part of your culture. And you can now go forward and say, thank you. It's okay to say thank you, but guess what? You can expect this of everybody like me that says they're an Israelite. Mm-hmm. It's more than just me. It's more little black and brown children that behave and act like this. I am not an anomaly. I'm royalty. I do come from a set apart seed, but this is how everybody like me is going to present themselves when they get in front of, when you come across them, right? And that will begin to change the narrative about us as a people, but it also begin to change the narrative about us as Israelites specifically, and what they may have seen on some social media site, or what they read on the ADL website, or what they see on the news or anything like that. When we start holding ourselves to that standard and stop worrying so much about the curses, if we believe the curses are over, and start worrying more so about what things we do to cause Yah to favor us and how we present and reflect Yah when we go out in the world, That's what we were talking to our children about based on that scripture I shared.
Yeah, because it's funny you should say that, Coach. Coach Tina said, I was a teacher for 23 years for alternative students. You can tell the parenting style.
Yeah.
Because this morning I was watching this video where this aqua's well, he a brew. I don't think he know Hebrew, but
I'm gonna venture to guess he don't.
Yes. But he was talking about how, there's a report out where it says that teachers are quitting in groves. So like the number of teachers that are quitting their job today is crazy. So they're saying that Generation Z and Generation Alpha is causing teachers to quit. Alpha. Yeah, because they're saying that these students, so not only, like that one teacher was talking, he was like, he's been a teacher only for 30 days. And when you're going through school and stuff, they teaching you, the children is the future and yada, yada, yada. And you had this excitement. He said, but he started teaching in 7th grade, and he's been teaching it for 30 days. And the smartest child in his class reads at a 4th grade level. And, you know, he just was like, and the children are disrespectful, you know, and it used to be a time where there was some accountability. So if you didn't, he's like, you know, back in the day, you didn't listen to the teacher was able to paddle you.
Yes.
You know what
I've
I'm
experienced
saying?
that.
Yeah, me too.
Or at least was threatened to
Now,
get paddled. I don't think I actually get
kindergarten, I think in my kindergarten, it was the last year they was allowing that in school.
Yeah.
So our kindergarten teacher used to paddle us.
Bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the threat, and that was enough for me to straighten up.
Set up. Don't even get me started talking about it. Well, Catholic schools were still able to do it for, they probably still. But he was saying, you know, and then after the paddling, then, you know, you got suspended. So if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, you got suspended. You know, you had to deal with your mom, you know, your parents or whatever.
Right.
You know, he said they don't really do that no more. And then it was, you know, they would call home. They call your parent. And so he said, but these days when you call the parent, you get the same attitude for the parent that the children have. And so you like, ma'am, I wanted to call and talk to you about woo wop the bop. And she like, don't you call my house telling me nothing about my child. You the teacher, teach. Click.
It used to be because the parents was children themselves, but now we're talking about even older parents.
They said it's the millennials, the millennial parents. The millennial parents are not parenting. And they're allowing the children to just do, you know, the children, what the children gonna respect the teacher for when they're a child, don't they respect the parent?
When the parent doesn't require respect of the children, because we live in a society that says everything is okay, everything is permissible, everybody's a winner. This is what I told my wife this morning. And it was funny, but I wasn't trying to be funny. People don't want to be called a loser and all of that. When we were talking about this LGB now want to separate from the QTRSV, WXYZ, whatever. Now they don't want their plight to be mixed in with them. And I said, well, hell, I don't want the African American plight to be mixed in with any of y'all's plight. Like, why did you start latching on to our plight? But in these shorts that Real was showing me this morning, we were looking at morbidly out of shape people saying, well, I was doing this and I was in a public space and I wasn't getting the same attention as people who were thinner than me. And you mad at them? You want someone to change what their personal preference is, but you don't want anybody to tell you to change what your personal preference is. And then with the mixing of the genders, and somebody posted on a website today, there's 72 additional genders outside of male and female that they are acknowledging now. And you don't want us to call you a loser. And I'm telling you that if you are old enough to look down at yourself and can't determine after looking at yourself whether you were born male or female, you're a loser. You've lost already. Goodness, you've lost. You're behind.
YouTube is gonna flag our page.
No, you're behind. 4th grade. Okay, kindergarten, you should know male and boy. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Either I got something or I don't. This determines if I'm male or female.
When we was younger, they taught us that boys have penises, girls have vaginas.
Yes.
That was something they don't do that anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you can't tell, you've lost the race. You're behind, you need to play catch up. Shabbat shalom.
Kosi. But I'm gonna say one more thing, Kosi incident, then I'm gonna let you come. And so what the point he was trying to make was that, you know, it's a setup. Because although public schools are like that, private schools and these Catholics, they're not like that. Right. They still have these standards. And so
the Catholic schools is coming up. They coming.
They coming. But remember that Rockefeller, they quoted Daddy Rockefeller as saying, we have invested in education. We have invested in private school system. I mean, in the public school system, because we don't want to produce competitors. We want to produce consumers and workers.
Right.
And so the people who can afford to send their children to private school, they can because they're continuing to produce leaders. They're not trying to produce leaders in public schools. They're producing workers. They're producing consumers. They're producing kids that's on TikTok all day and kids, that's what they want to produce.
Morpheus said batteries.
That's all they want to produce. And that's why Rockefeller run the public school system. And that's why things have changed the way they changed, because they need to increase. If you let Jacob start on a level playing field, and they know this, as their children, Jacob gonna pass them by.
You could let Jacob start behind and they still pass.
And baby, even with all the trickery, even with all the pits they digging, all the holes they digging for us,
Jacob leaping right over them.
Already.
Yep. Hurdling.
Already. So even with these traps y'all trying to set up, it still ain't gonna work. Prophecy still gonna be fulfilled. I mean, I said we still gonna leave out of here with riches.
The ditch you dug.
Period.
Coty Internet.
I saw this article and I just couldn't believe it. There was a student who identified as a cat. So all his answers in class were meow and blah, blah. And the teacher contacted the parent, this is disruptive to the other student. And, of course, they were talking about suing now because this is what my child identifies as, and you have to let my child be who he is. So it's just all at the point. So, whereas we would be back to the days of Noah. We're bringing back in bestiality and all of this other stuff. So, it's going to get even worse because if I identify as a cat, then I'm going to be laying with another cat because, it's just crazy.
I think that's one aspect of it, and I don't disagree. I think another aspect of a situation like that is we've gotten to the point now where these ideals that the world is trying to set in place right now are so dumb that even a child can see and make mockery of it. And now you have to play along with this dumb game because you set the rules in place. And the child is now testing your theory to say, oh, so I can identify as whatever. Okay, I'm a cat. I'm going to be a dog tomorrow. The day after that, I'm going to be a book.
What did we say when we was, if the police pulled us over? What?
Oh, no, I said that. I said, I'm going to identify as a white Christian man. And I get pulled over by the police, and I'm going to start cussing at them and telling them, write my ticket so I can go, please, you bastard. The audacity of you to pull me over like this.
Just let me let you know.
I identify as a white Christian male today. And we'll see if that works. Thank you, baby.
You bastard. So let's go for it.
And I say that to say, again, it's mockery. You know that's not going to work. So why are we playing games with, me saying to someone in a public venue in customer service relationship type of situation, how can I help you, sir? And you're standing here, clearly a man, beard and mustache, but because you got your hair in a bun, and because you tied yourself up like a woman, you supposed to be fooling someone?
But this is the thing that get me. She just turned the camera. Indigo.
Yeah, she did.
This is the thing that get me. So sometimes, this is what it is, and this is why I say it's vanity, because sometimes a man will be dressed like a woman, and then you will say, you'll call him ma'am, and he'll get upset and say, I'm a man, don't call me ma'am. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes a man will be dressed like a boy with some girl features, mm-hmm. and you will say, sir, and he'll say, don't call me sir, call me ma'am. And so it's like, and then you have to, I guess what they want you to do is, it doesn't matter if you're working a job and it's like for example, the guy that was at the airport, the guy who did the airport video, he says what he wants to do is to force people to stop and ask questions. And so he went to the airport, and so all his videos are him basically putting people in their place for not stopping to ask questions. So he went to the airport 2 days or 3 days before Christmas. It's crazy busy. And he walks up to the woman or the fella who's there trying to get all these people taken care of. Okay. This is a human being. He's stressed out. It's high traffic. And the guy says, "How can I help you, ma'am?" He was dressed. He looked like a woman. Okay. And he said, now he's ready to make a point right now. He's ready to make his stance in the middle of this rush hour at the airport. He says, "You misgendered me. Don't call me a ma'am." So the guy says, "I'm sorry, sir. How can I help you?" And he said, "You misgendered me again. Don't call me sir." And so the guy, like, in the middle of a rush, you know what I'm saying? You got angry passengers here. He's dealing with 3 or 4 things down here. He's dealing with, and you're ready to make a stand right now. And so, in my opinion, that was selfish because, like, why would you? This is a human being. 2-3 days before Christmas, you know the airport is crazy. So the guy goes to get his manager. His manager comes in.
Brew.
A brew. He says, "How can I help you, ma'am?" Because his hair, he looks like a woman. So he says, he looks at the camera like, "We're going to deal with this today. You misgendered me." So the guy said, "I'm sorry, sir, how can I help you? You misgendered me again." And he gets to going on this, so the man, you can see the brew he just, "You know what? I didn't do it maliciously. But if you choose to look at it that way, that's fine. But let me let you know, I have the authority to get you escorted out of here.
Your ass up out of here."
And and it's 2 days, 2 days or 3 days before Christmas. If that's what you would like me to do, then you know what I'm saying. And so this is my point here. He says he wants people to stop what you're doing, and say, "Tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about yourself." I don't have time in the middle of a rush to say, just, we would all like to stop and hear a little bit about you. How are you identifying today? That's vanity. That's vain.
First of all, I agree with Sister Tina. I refuse to play them games. Secondly, what you're asking is for worship.
That's a form of self-worship.
You want people to worship you when you walk through the door and stop and lavish you with a special and peculiar attention. And here's the thing. You want to be put on a pedestal, but Scripture don't tell me to put you on a pedestal. Scripture tells me who is the peculiar people that is above all people. And you want to put those people down and make them common and raise everybody else to an equal playing field. Scripture says we are not equal. We are not equal. I'm not going to play those silly games. And I'm of the mindset, family, this is what I'm saying, and this is what I'm telling my children. You got to start walking it like you talk. If you believe these scriptures to be true, we have to start separating ourselves from the shenanigans. That don't mean you can't be cordial.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I deal with people cordially every day in communication, but I'm not playing them games.
Yeah, you could be kind of like Jose said, he wanted to see. This is the thing. Everybody wants to be seen. But are you being considerate of this man who's dealing with 9 different problems, luggage lost here, this woman's flight canceled, and I'm trying to get you in and out.
Right.
And you want to pick now to make a stance? Like, why would you do that? Like, that's so, you know what I'm saying? And so, that was one of the things, the guy who was doing the video, he was gay. But his problem is these people who's using that to basically get famous and to make these, you know what I'm saying?
That's their whole TikTok reel is them putting people in their place. And to be honest, like I say, hey, listen, I would have a whole separate area in this. Let's say we in fast food or whatever. There's a whole area over there. You can sit down and take your time and figure it out. Once you get it figured out, you can come back and we'll happily take your order. But I'm not finna sit here and play guessing games with you. Go over there, take your time, and figure it out. Once you get it sorted, come on back.
Yeah.
Or you can leave.
Coach Latasha, yeah.
Take your child to a pet school. Yes, sis, take your child to a pet school. We're not playing them games. We don't educate pets here. We don't train pets.
They say that
So if your child is identifying as a cat, you need to come pick them up.
If that child can identify as a cat, then I can identify as a wealthy person.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
want to identify as somebody with an 800
I'm
plus
telling
credit
you,
score.
bro, I would like
Thank
a
you.
loan, please. I'm going into the bank and let them know, first of all, I don't care what my records say.
Right, right.
See what I identify as.
Go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Code.
No, I was going to say because y'all was when Coach Tina was talking about the schools, and I was saying we had 3 teachers leave before I went on break,
Mm.
Wow.
and then and I'm at a private school, and then this year I think she started one of our directors. She started like in October, but I think I was out actually during Sukkot. So when I came back, that's when I was introduced to her. And it's just funny because all the teachers was asking me like, "Did you meet the new director? Did you meet the new director?" And I'm like, "No, why?" So when I met her, it's a he.
Oh.
And everybody came to my class to like see my reaction. So I'm just So I'm just looking at them like, so one of the students asked her, "What do we call you, Miss or Mister?" So then she was like, "What?" And I was like, "She's a Miss. We don't play them abomination games in the school."
Oh my goodness.
And she just looked at me. "We don't play them abominations in the school. She's a Miss."
Mm-hmm.
So and I knew like, because at first I kept saying like, "Why do I keep asking me to meet the new director?" No, I didn't meet her yet. So when she came to my class and she introduced herself, then I understood like they try to get me to start, and I'm not going to start. I'm gonna mind my business because if that's her choice of life, that's her choice of life. As long as she take care of these children, but I'm not going to have my class calling you Mister when I can clearly see you're a woman. That's not happening. You know, whatever other teacher do, that's their problem. That's their business. So when my student asked, "Do we call her ma'am or sir?" I said, "She's a Miss. We don't play them abomination games in this room."
Yeah, that's
simple as that.
So somebody else made a comment, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. You know, it wasn't that many years ago that this was not an issue. Whether somebody chose to live their personal life behind closed doors in their bedroom, this way or that way, we didn't care. Wasn't nobody running around with pitchforks and stuff like that, trying to kill the golem over whether or not somebody, you know, was homosexual or transsexual or whatever. We didn't care. What you did in your own personal life was what you did. This new thing only started, as the young man said in the video, when you started coming after the children. When you decided that you were going to, and we knew this was coming because this was the plan per Aleister Crowley and all that. When you start trying to reach the children at the most impressionable age and encourage them to do stuff and try to influence them outside of what their parents are influencing them, because you're in the role of a teacher or because you're in the role of a mentor or something like that, which actually, if you look up what the word mentor actually originally meant, it was about that in the beginning. Older men and younger boys. And so that's the problem. If you wouldn't be coming for the children, and if you wouldn't be trying to force us to participate in your shenanigans, you wouldn't have an issue.
I remember like some years ago when around the time we first came into the truth, we seen this documentary they did where somebody had came upon the agenda of an organization called MAMBLA. You remember that?
Man Boy Love Association.
That's what it stands for. And they said that within the next 10 years or so, they wanted to had like homosexualize as many boys. They had a number or whatever may have you, and the way that they was going to do that is to infiltrate the food and also infiltrate the educational system. And so they wanted to put drag queens in libraries and in schools. And I can remember when I heard that back then, I can remember thinking they'll never get away with that. That'll never happen. And their whole thing was their goal was to encourage these grown men, young boy relationships, as many as they could. And they wanted to teach young boys to trust in these older men and to, to do this. And they said one of the things they were going to do was infiltrate the education system by putting drag queens in the libraries for reading time, having drag queens read stories to little children, have sexualized literature. So actually teach little boys that it's okay to be sexual with men.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I just was like, there's no way they'll get away with that. And now look today.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah.
And
because even when Zion started,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say even when Zion started high school and we had went to the orientation. So when we get to the orientation, his advisor was are they transgenders when they dress up as women? You know they men. What are they? Drag queens, transgenders? I don't know.
I don't know, Cole. I think they drag or either trans.
I just say trans.
Right.
I mean, that's what it was called back in the day. What's different?
Yeah.
They act like it's something new, but it's been going on forever.
But they say it's
been going on.
70 different variations.
No, listen.
And it's your job to figure out which of the
70. Paul spoke about this. He said, don't nature itself teach you that it is unnatural for a man to dress as a woman? Or vice versa? This is not cool.
It's your job to figure out the 70 you're dealing with at the time that you're dealing with them.
Well, all I know is when we went to that orientation and Zion seen it, he was like, Mom, I don't want to go here. So I had to find him a whole nother school 2 weeks before school started because I'm like, that's his advisor. And sometimes I know, y'all know me and my child. We can say things and it be coming and I'll be thinking like in our minds, we be trying to say it in a nice way. But to other people, it's just like, y'all too blunt. Y'all shouldn't have said it like that. And Zion was like, Mom, I don't want to go here. That's our, I said, that's his advisor. And they said, yes. I said, oh no, we don't do those. And they felt like that was disrespectful. It's not disrespectful. He can't be around my son. I'm sorry. I don't have nothing
I don't see no issue with that.
Style, but he can't be around my son. And
if you got a choice, then I for damn sure got a choice.
Right. If you got a choice, then we have a choice as well.
Choice, I don't mind that.
Absolutely.
Coach Tina.
So now we gotta find a new high school.
Go ahead, Coach, your mic.
I was coming out of Walgreens one day, and this man, I'm assuming, approached me. And I'm telling you, he looked like he just got out the barbershop. His beard was lined up, trimmed, hair trimmed up, just looked like he got out the barbershop. Come running up to me, ma'am, can I get $1? I need to get on the bus. You're on Halsted. I need to get on the bus. I know I look like a man, but he gonna pull his shirt back so I could see his nub. I'm really a woman. I shot straight to the womb. I'm like, dude, I don't have the courtesy of switching lanes. Pick a side. You can't be a woman when you in need.
Right.
He actually pulled his shirt back so I could see the nubs of his breast, so that I would feel sorry enough for him to loan him money to get on the bus. Yes, but he looked like he just jumped out the barber shop to get that lining.
Sis, and obviously had money for a surgery.
And I'm like, dude, I don't get this. I don't have the luxury of flip flopping like this. Really, this is what we doing.
My man saying, look, the bigger the. Okay, I won't say that.
I promise you, and I've been seeing that a lot. They want to, and I told them, I said, if I messed around and called you ma'am or woman, you would be ready to fight me right now. I said, but if you would be ready to fight me, cursing me out and everything, but because of something you want, is that all about me nation?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, it only applies, you're a man when it suits you. It's a woman, you're a woman when you suit you.
Yep.
Pick a poison. I'm telling you, they ain't for real in that struggle. They not. They not for real in that struggle. I don't know what it is, but they not for real in that struggle. They doing it for other reasons. I really don't believe half them. I really don't. If you be looking at some of that stuff, it's so unreal, it's ridiculous. And when he or she or whatever he perpetrate, I don't know what that was. But when he pulled his shirt back to show me his breast,
it's self-worship. That's what I get of it. It is self-worship. It's self-idolatry.
It's vanity.
It's vanity. This is the age that we live in. And listen, when Messiah said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming end. I'm paraphrasing however that's written. We had to know, fam, that it wasn't gonna be like overnight. It wasn't gonna be like somebody went out and flipped the switch and all of a sudden you got mixed breeds of animals, mixed breeds of food, mixed breeds of people. You know what I'm saying? No, not overnight. It's you being in a pot and that fire gradually being turned up until next thing you know, you're boiling.
And now don't get us wrong. We're not saying let's emphasize that they're the only ones performing this self-worship. No, we're not saying that. It's a worldwide thing. You know, you got people who will do anything for worship. Like we're living
self-aggrandizement.
We're living in
adulation.
Very vain. We're living in a world where most everyone, and I mean it's a few people. And when I say most, this is even something I struggle with. Most everyone are the narcissistic.
Think about the things that we spend our time on, you know, with selfies, Facebook, TikTok, iPads and iPods. Why do you think they call them that? You know, this is almost, again, it's almost like mockery that the makers of this technology or technology or whatever you want to call it are giving us the tools to condemn ourselves. You know,
Shanti, Black I know Thought you put your hand down, but you're coming back up, sister.
Yeah, Black Thought said in that 12-minute freestyle he did on Phone Master Flex.
Oh yeah.
He said we was headed to the web way before the internet, something like that. It's the technology and the World Wide Web, as they used to call it before y'all was getting online, is just that. It is a web that's easy for us to get stuck in if we absent-mindedly just go forward and start playing in that virtual world. And now you got people walking around stuck in virtual reality. They have no sense of being grounded in real life. What it is like to deal with struggles, loss, because they're being protected from anything that may hurt their feelings. This is why children jump out and start shooting people, because they feel like they're being disrespected.
Yeah.
Your parents should have taught you what that feels like before you got out the door. Your parents should have taught you what it was like for someone to tell you no and hell no or whatever before no, and to set yourself down somewhere before you got disciplined by an adult. You shouldn't have first experienced that as a 12, 13-year-old out on the street, and now you're ready to fight because you feel like somebody checked your manhood. What manhood? Young sir, at 12 years old, you are not a man. Why should I treat you like a man? You're a child. Sit down and listen. And I know the same thing applies for young ladies. You know what I'm saying? You out here dressed like a woman of leisure, but you want to be addressed how?
It's like that movement where the girls wearing them TikTok leggings to the gym. And you put them TikTok leggings on, went to the gym, set up a camera, and then said, "Watch how many men violate me and stare at me while I work out." Come on, man. That's like, you know what? Shanti, come on up. Shanti, please. Baby, come back up to the mic.
Nah, I did warn y'all ain't got no common sense sometimes, right?
Huh?
What'd you say?
I did. I did warn y'all I don't have common sense sometimes, right?
Okay, what you do?
What's it do?
So I was like maybe 2 years ago at work, and my coworker was telling me how she had to take one of her kids to the doctors, and they were like, "What do you identify as?" And this is a teenager. They did it to me, being me and my little ignorant brain. I was like, I want my child's doctor to ask him that, and I want him to say, "I identify as a shoe," because we don't play them games.
You gonna tie me now,
Right.
sir?
Stop
Yep.
playing.
I have a little
Girl.
boy, and my boy knows what his boy parts are.
Mm-hmm. They confuse me
So
because they doing it on purpose. They doing it on purpose. They are trying to. Messiah said that this world is going to turn back into how the world was before the days of Noah, like during the days of Noah. And in order to do this, it has to like we think about Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah was so bad that the Most High rained down fire and destroyed that little town. But the world,
those towns, but yeah,
right, those towns. But the world during the days of Noah was so bad. I mean, y'all destroyed the whole world. You know what I'm saying? So they starting with our children. Do you your baby in how old is your baby?
3, he in daycare while I go to work.
Okay.
Okay. Listen, remember that scripture says, "Woe to them that call good evil and evil good." Those are the days we live in. Those days we living in right now.
Yeah, you know what? My youngest now is how old is Noah, y'all? 11, 12? So you know, I know for us, I know it don't seem like, but we almost done. But we've been doing it for a while. Baby, how old is you? What's that oldest? 23 years. We've been doing it for a while. So Noah is 11. So I say we got what you say, about 6, 7 more, give or take.
Look at this one. Count it down.
Man, listen.
Before what?
Because
you got 20 and 23-year-olds that still heavily depend on us.
I mean, I know that's true, but like trying to mold a young mind with all the tricks that the adversary is like, you're gonna have to be on your game to keep control of your Gen Zers or Gen Alpha's mind.
No, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
I think at this point, we've successfully gotten our older children to the point that if they had to go to the public school system, they could fend for themselves. They know what's right, what's wrong. They understand Bible-based principles, and they could go forward even in the midst of what's going on in the school and be like, "Nah, I'm not getting down with that. That ain't right. Nah, that ain't right." And yeah, I agree with that. Once you get to, for the youngest one, 16, 17, 18, if you don't get it by that point, it's really not much.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really worried about no grown man walking up to my oldest son trying to convince him of something. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or that, he don't really, but like for the mommies who have young children out here, I'm praying for y'all, because man, y'all gonna and it ain't that it can't be done. It can be done. You know what I'm saying? You just really got to fight for your child's mind, because the adversary showed in the hell is.
True.
He's invested,
True. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. Coach Gabora, put your hand up.
We'll open the room. We'll do something. Coach Gabora.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, I was ready to tell y'all, don't get too comfortable, because the older they get, unfortunately, now you got a different fight on your hand. Now you got the fight of you fearing that something is going to actually happen to them because of their stand. You know what I mean? Like, my oldest went through a thing when she was like between 18 to 21, because most people assumed that, like, she was stuck up because of the fact that she was raised with morals. You know what I mean? And even my 30-year-old, talking to her now, because she calls for everything. Like I said, it don't get no better. But she, her thing is like, she be like, who raised these people? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and then they looking at me like I'm strange because I'll be like, like, well, my mom didn't teach me that, or I didn't go through that struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know that. You know what I mean? Like, and then, but she's like, she's me in the mouth real bad. So it's like, yeah, I don't care what you think. You know what I mean? Yeah, I am better than you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was raised with morals. I'm sorry if your mother did,
Dang.
Right,
she gets
right.
slick with it,
Like,
like,
who fault was that?
I'm sorry yeah, I'm sorry your mother didn't teach you these things when you was growing up, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it becomes a different it's a different fight then because like you raise them from that and those morals are in them.
Mhm.
Then once they go out in the world, then they have to navigate, like I tell mine, I have to like, listen, girl, you need to start being a little humble. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have to say it like that. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I I'm going through that point where I'm just now learning that. And oh my gosh, it's a hard lesson that I'm learning,
I had to
because
go
I
through
be
that
over
too.
here literally, yeah, I be over here chewing on my tongue, like, don't say nothing, Gabora. Like, everything doesn't need a response from you. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, so it's hard and I'm learning, but I'm trying to teach her that. But like I said, when you raise them with those morals, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's once they get older, it's a whole nother different ball game they're going through. Like I literally, pray over my children that somebody don't hurt them. You know what I mean? Like
No, I
Mhm.
get that.
Heck yeah.
somebody,
I agree.
so
Mhm.
hmm
You know what too though? That does also tie back into what we started out talking about though, because at the same token, just because somebody else is saying that they feel like you stuck up, don't let that cause you to turn down your shine.
I know.
Because yes, you were raised with morals
Mhm.
and you were raised to carry yourself like somebody who is worth something, like you
Mhm.
have value. And just because
Mhm.
somebody sees your value as you feeling like you're better than them, that's their problem, not
Yeah,
yours.
don't put a
But I
shade
feel
on
what
you
you're
either.
saying
Yep, I
because
agree.
you do. Even with this one and with him being off away at school, it's like now we're at a position where I can't run to protect you.
Mhm.
You got to go out there and figure some things out on your
Mhm.
own. Before Coach Teresa comes to the mic, I wanted to read this comment. Coach Tina said, "We might need to stop labeling our children with the Gen X, Y, Z, etc., and the characteristics attributed to them. We give our children our expectations, and they need to follow through." I agree with that. I do.
Mhm.
Technically, scriptural generations don't line up with
That's true.
what they doing, what they talking about, all of that.
That's true.
Your generation, we're one generation, our children are the next generation, their children would be the next generation. It's as simple as that. I get so confused with the
Mhm.
who is the X, who is the millennials. That confuses me, but I get what they're saying because the boomers have a certain mentality, and those who are the children of the boomers have a certain mentality because we experienced
Product of our environment.
things together. Our childhood, we have in common with everybody else who was born to baby boomers. I get that, but I kind of agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
Coach Teresa?
Hello. Shalom.
Hello. Shalom.
Huh.
So I have or we have, my husband and I, we have three boys and one girl, and our children are a lot older. My
Mhm.
youngest is 24, my oldest is 39. But
Oh wow.
um
Okay.
we we raised them. It always surprises me when people meet my sons or my daughter, and they're always, oh, they're so well mannered, they're so well, and I look at them like, what do you mean? Like, that's what I expect them to be when
Yeah.
Right.
they're
Yeah.
when
Right.
they're out there. So um, that always took me by surprise, and we should tell our sons all the time, you will learn respect in this house, or some policeman are going to teach it to you out
Telling
here
you.
in these streets, and you don't want to learn that
Telling you.
way. Um,
That's
Mhm.
right.
so
Mhm. Yes,
Yes.
um,
ma'am.
so so now I have grandchildren by my stepdaughter, and it just drives me crazy because she doesn't have the same thought process as her dad and I, and so I have to uh, fight or navigate to help her out without stepping on her toes. And my husband's always like, "Oh, let her figure it out," and I'm like, "No, she doesn't have it figured out at all.
Obviously, huh?
She needs help." Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's gonna be a struggle because I look at my children, and I think what end up happening is the things that we like our parents, for example, the things that we felt growing up, our parents went wrong and could have done better. Like for me, my mom was of that generation where, your parent told you what was up. They didn't want to hear your opinion. They didn't want to hear what you felt about it. They didn't, what I'm saying? You just do what I said. I don't care what you think, what you know, that ain't what I asked you. And I can remember growing up thinking, but like if you talk to me, what I'm saying, I got a brain, a great brain, and thoughts, and what I'm saying, and I figured like if you could help just explain to me, help me understand, I got the kind of brain that if you could just help me understand, I'll understand it rather than shut up, do what I say do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so with my children, one of the things I tried to do was to explain to them why I'm doing this and hear their thoughts on the subject. You know what I'm saying? And he don't always. He was like, "What do we care what they think about it? Just do it."
Because there's two versions of that. Because my parents were that way as well. Although I was allowed to express my opinion on things after completing the task assigned, and so I kind of got that mentality. Yeah, you can ask me about it after you complete what I said do. But what you're not going to do is use the ability to ask me about it as a way to stall or to misconstrue this situation to perceive that you ever had a choice.
Right.
You didn't have a choice. You're still going to do what I say do. Questions we can ask the questions, but they got to be serious questions, and if we can explain it.
All right, y'all. That's how N giving us the cue. Can y'all hear us? Okay. Hit a 7 if we could be heard. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We apologize, fam. And to the powers of the air. So anyway, in short, the bill collectors do not respect the Shabbat. No, in short, children will test, and I'm fine with them asking questions, but it still got to be done. If we're telling you, this is what must be done. And the other thing too is sometimes it's time sensitive, so there is no time for a discussion. Sometimes you need to learn just to complete the task that's been assigned. Yeah.
Save your life sometimes. Duck. What? Duck. But why? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, why duck? Okay.
With a blade coming at your head.
Maybe you learn next time or not. I don't know.
But I think what ended up happening is then my children may take what they feel like we could have been more lenient, and then they show their children that because let's just keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and them was of a different breed. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do what their parents say do. They got their teeth knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
My mother was missing. She got falsies from her mother.
My mother too. My mother too, from her father. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, you don't do what I say do, I knock your teeth down your throat.
That's right.
She said, I call it gentle parenting with a little bit of 90s
abuse.
A little bit of it. You probably listen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
In my defense, third time's a charm.
You said third time's a charm.
Time's a charm.
Goodness great. So you a gentle parenter? You do gentle parenting?
So yes and no.
Okay.
Like when he cries, I let him cry. Regulate your emotions, and then we can talk about it later. But depending on what he does and how high his emotion is, I remember You cry, you get beat again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's come down and let's talk about it, and
Yeah.
then go about our day.
Yeah.
But then sometimes, he got to get popped in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. I think several of my children I know are going to be gentle parenters. You know what I'm saying? Just because his children, this one there, he's going to be a gentle parenter. You know what I'm saying? But like several of my children, they just not.
I think your children bring stuff out of you that you didn't know you had,
Yeah.
like your parent. And all the stuff that you said you was gonna do different, when your children go ham on you, you realize how much like your parents you were. I'll be honest, we did things different than our parents, but it is what it is.
I mean, tell you something. Twice in my life, I seen red, and both times it was my older daughter that did it. Love you, boo.
Let's go ahead and jump into this before we lose our signal again. Gentle parenting, I don't know, sis. I can't give you a definition because I don't do it.
She said I wasn't definition of gentle.
I don't do it, so I can't.
It's a new thing.
Occulti Gilead. Is Janelle in the room?
Said
There
Nelly
you go.
tried it.
There you go.
Tried that, but realized it didn't.
Yeah, there you go. We was just waiting on her to come to the realization. When she said that, we was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she's like, I'm trying something new. I'm doing this gentle parenting.
Me and Red both was like,
okay, all right.
See how that works.
Let me tell you something. This generation, they got their own ideas on how to, to do things. So
no, we did that though. Occulti Gabora. Yeah, I find that to be very effective. You know what my father told me, and I really appreciated this. At one point, he said, "Man, you're getting too old for me to be whooping on all the time. I would like to be able to have a conversation with you, and you take the necessary advice or make the corrections that need to be made." And I appreciated that. When that don't work, from my perspective, when that don't work with my children, we move to corporal punishment, as opposed to whoop. Every once in a while, you still got to, bring out the rod, the leather strap, whatever.
Not me. I get too tired. Last time I cried, I almost died.
Anyway, I'm not gonna.
I almost had a
heart. I stopped after a certain age. After a certain age, I feel like you shouldn't still even have to use corporal punishment. Mm-hmm. So after a certain age, I didn't. It wasn't a thing, but I still use some form of punishment. Like I used to have them like in the front leaning rest position. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like while I'm cooking. You know what I mean? I'm talking arms is about to fall off, or I would have them with their feet, with them laid back on the back with their feet 6 inches off the ground. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I did stuff like that to them.
Yeah.
So
we do that too.
Yeah. So but then, like I said, once they got a certain age, the respect was there, the fear was there.
Right.
Because my sons, by the time they reached like 12 years old, they were both taller than me. My oldest son is 6'5", my youngest son is 6'3". So by the time they were like 14, 15 years old, corporal punishment, I'm 5'5", you know what I mean? And now I didn't build them up. They got muscles, you know what I'm saying? Because now they like working out now. You know what I mean? So now they doing it on their off time. You feel me? So
yeah,
I had a good old bat though. That I walked around like I was old boy on
Not lean on me. What's that? Fest Clark.
Yep.
Clark.
Yep.
Clark.
Mr. Clark.
Sure did.
You used to call me Joe, now they call me Batman.
Yeah.
I showed did, and the cold part about it is I even had their friends under control. If my kids messed up and you was with them, because I would go out and talk to all the kids, give all the kids instructions. So if all of y'all messed up, everybody get it. I don't care who your mama is. I don't care who your daddy is. You know what I'm saying? You over here in my house, you're under my control. If your parents don't like it, then you don't need to be over here. But since we all over here, and everybody was scared of my bat. They used to see my bat. Everybody take off running. They like, this lady is crazy.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's the secret sauce, sis. And the fact that you as a mother could do that, I think that solves all issues. When you can't get the mother to also do that, then what happens is your children, especially your sons, do what you say when you standing there, but then start to give her a difficult time. And now, like you said, they built up some muscle, they got some testosterone working, and they feel like, okay, I know I got to listen to dad, but you haven't made me feel as though I really got to do what you like. I know I need to say yes, but I can walk off and then not complete the task. And so, in all honesty, the reasons that I have had to put my hands on any of my sons after a certain age, say 12, is not because they didn't do what I said directly, like me standing in front of them. Is because I'm away somewhere and their mother calls me and is like, I can't do this no more. They not listening. And I'm like, well, it's because you're not, you can't whoop them with a flower and expect them to respect that as discipline.
Y'all seen Melak, right? Have y'all seen Melak? So the boy, he's been that size. He been huge. This is a rib about never heard. Let me tell you something. Melak been that size. Okay, first of all, we ain't gonna deal with Melak. Melak's huge. Yahuah, let's deal with my son Yahuah. Yahuah made me upset. When was that? When I hit him with the stick and the stick broke and he laughed at me. When was that?
Sis, when she say stick,
that was a stick.
When she say stick,
with a stick,
we mean something like a flower.
It's not. It's not
something. Something. It may have been like cardboard folded repeatedly. That's the stick she talking.
That I hit you with. I hit him and it broke. And I'm like, and I was mad. And he was like, he was looking at his brothers and them laughing at me.
We're talking about something. Let's say it was a stick. We're talking about something dried up and brittle enough to break when you hit somebody with.
It was not.
So what she didn't do was what I told her, which was, as you suggested, my literal words were, take her back to that boy's back. I said, grab it. I said, grab, and that's why you had a problem. I said, grab the closest metal object you have and try to break it upside his head. I said, and if that don't work, and I'm talking to y'all too, and I've said this before, if that don't work, and if you feel like you got a son that's big and bad enough that he scares you, wait till he's asleep. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, I'm speaking, I'm trying to cover all the bases here. If he's big and bad enough to scare you mothers and you don't have a man, wait till he sleep. Because there's no way in the world that he should sleep comfortably in your house and you can't sleep comfortably in your house. Wait till he sleep and try to break that nigga's skull. He ain't gonna die. He ain't gonna die, but he will respect you and he will be nervous because he know he can't rest while being disrespectful in your house, is what I'm saying.
I can't do that with my babies. But what I can do is they know that once
Thanks, sis. My name is Shelomoh Ben Israel, and I approve this message.
Once I tell their daddy, they know I'm fed up. And that's it, because they know that they push me. And when what happens is he be on the road and he get tired of it. Let me tell you, he get tired of hearing me say, I can't deal with it no more. I'm putting him out my house. Come pick him up on 20. And he like, please don't put my son out. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna be disrespected in my house. I'm putting him out, and he can do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Then he come in mad, tired, and he go ahead and deal with it, right? But that's all it takes. He did that once with Melak. Melak ain't never been a problem. He did that once with my next oldest son. Never been a problem. The next two in line, I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with. I don't think he gonna have to do it again to Noah.
Yeah,
now Noah, I know. But Israel ain't gonna be that way, and Keith ain't gonna. They ain't in their nature. They not disrespectful to their mama. They take care of their mama. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna do that. They don't. But them oldest two boys and this baby.
Y'all, this all ties back in with Ecclesiasticus 30 and Sirach 30, whichever one you is listed as. I'm telling you, read that. They give you all the answers right there.
Women with boys, yes, listen, because I don't work. My daughters, I gonna get in it because with my daughters, it's me and you, sister. You know what I'm saying? We like two women. I don't care how old you is. I'm bigger than all my daughters. I'm taller than all of them. They all short like my mama, and they all little. I tower over all my daughters. I ain't worried about my daughters, but them boys get big and they get strong, and at some point, when you hit them, it don't hurt no more.
But you older and you wiser, so do not fight fair. Let me put it that way. Don't fight fair.
Yeah, at some point, when you hit them, it don't hurt no more. And they start smelling themselves. My oldest son was the first to do it. And he wasn't really disrespectful, but you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell him to do something. He kept joking about something. And I'm like, Melak, I'm serious. I need you to go. You know what I'm saying? He was joking when I wasn't in the mood to joke. And I'm like, I need you to go do what move out the barn. And he just kept just goofy. You know what I'm saying? And I think he figured like, I'm bigger than you, I'm taller than you, make me do it. And I'm like, and as a boy, he was of that age when he was filling himself out, and he had just realized I'm stronger than my mama. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't handle it well. You know what I mean? And I was so upset with him. Man, let me tell you something. I called his father. I said, I'm going to take him. I'm going to drop him off on 20. And that's when he realized, like, she's serious. Like, I'm serious. You know what I'm saying? And he had realized, and they all go through it, where they realize I'm stronger and more powerful than my mama. And you do something in that moment. Something needs to happen. If you let them, if you cower before them, and you let them, she said, I'm knocking his head clean off.
That's what you try to do. You try to break it across their back. Let me rephrase that. Not their head, because you could cause some serious damage. But you try to break it across their back. They will live. They will live. Don't be scared that you're gonna kill them. You're not gonna kill them. You try to break it across their back.
I can't.
And that will sell that message.
I can't do it. I'm a push up. I can't do it. Look at my daughter shake her. You'll do it. You will hurt your child.
All right, y'all. We are picking up in First Melachim, chapter 7. Before we lose our little what little signal we have.
She said, I'm gonna have to do it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do it. More than likely, every once in a while, you have an anomaly.
I know. Look, Cozy said I catch attitude every time, and me too. And I know I'm even worse with my grandsons and my grandchildren. I know, like, don't hurt my baby. Please. Do not hurt my baby. What's wrong with you? I'm a pushover.
Every once in a while, you have an anomaly. You know, you got a child that don't give you any issues, like Akoti Gilead say, Nell gave her no issues at all. That's rare. But usually you're gonna have to do some disciplining. All right. First King, Aleph Malakim, chapter 7.
All right.
Y'all ready?
Y'all ready?
Hold on. Can you tell your siblings to come up here and read along with us, please?
We lost her. We lost some of the tribe.
First King, chapter 7. And we getting started now. I know they patiently waited. I apologize, fam. Trying to train these youngins up in the way they should go. All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay. And Shelomoh built his own house for 13 years. And he completed his entire house. And he built the house of the forest of Lebanon. It was 100 cubits long and 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high, with 4 rows of cedar columns and cedar beams on the columns. Now, what do we say a cubit is, like 2.5 feet or 1.5 feet?
Close to 2 feet.
Okay, so this was 200 feet long.
Close to it.
And like nearly 100 feet wide, and like nearly 60 feet high. So he built him a palace, baby.
Well, what you expect?
Shelomoh didn't do nothing small, huh? And it was paneled with cedar above the beams that were on 45 columns, 15 to a row. And there were windows with narrow frames in 3 rows, and window was opposite window 3 times. And all the doorways and the doorposts had square frames, and windows was opposite windows 3 times. And he made the porch of the columns 50 cubits long and 30 cubits wide. And the porch was in front of them, and the columns and the roof was in front of them. And he made a hall for the throne, the hall of right ruling, where he ruled. And he was paneled with cedar from floor to floor.
Pause for just a second. So remember, we talked about in the book of Judges that before there were kings to sit on the throne of Israel, these judges acted in the same way that your American judges position themselves now. They were well versed in the law, and people came before them to settle disputes. Well, now that we have a king on the throne, the king is now acting as the righteous judge, and he assigns people to do that in places other than where he is. But at this point in time, people begin to come to the king. They'll come from where they are to bring their disputes before the king, and that's what this hall and this seat was for him to hear the people, hear their issues, and make a righteous judgment on it. Okay.
And the house where he was to dwell in the other courtyard within the hall was all like workmanship. Shelomoh made a house like this hall for Pharaoh's daughter, who he had taken. All these were a precious stone hewn to size, sawed with a saw inside and out, from the foundation to the coping, and also to the outside of the great courtyard. And the foundation was of precious stone, large stones, stones of 10 cubits, and stones of 8 cubits. And above were precious stones hewn to size, and cedar wood. So the great courtyard all around had 3 rows of hewn stones and a row of cedar beams, as was the inner courtyard of the house of Yahuah and the porch of the house. And sovereign Shelomoh sent and brought Hiram from Zor. He was the son of a widow. Zor, what do we know about? Okay. He was the son of a widow from the tribe of Naphtali. And his father was a man of Zor, a bronze worker. And he was filled with wisdom and understanding.
This is the same Hiram you were reading about.
It has to be the same Hiram.
Yeah.
So Hiram, I didn't know Hiram was a Brew. Well, his mother was a Brew. His father was from Zor. And working in all kinds of bronze work. So he came to sovereign Shelomoh and did all his work. And he cast 2 columns of bronze, each one 18 cubits high, and a line of 12 cubits measured the circumference of each. And he made 2 capitals of cast bronze to put on the tops of the columns. The height of one capital was 5 cubits, and the height of the other capital was 5 cubits. A lattice network with wreaths of chain work for the capitals, which were on top of the columns, 7 chains for one capital, and 7 for the other capital. And he made the columns and 2 rows of pomegranates above the network, all around to cover the capital that were on top, and so he did for the other capital. And the capitals that were on top of the columns in the hall were in shape of lilies, 4 cubits. And there were capitals above also the 2 columns by the bulge which was next to the network. And the pomegranates were 200 in rows on each of the capitals all around. And he set up the columns by the porch of the Hekel. And he set up the column on the right and called its name Yakin. And he set up the column on the left and called his name Boaz. Now, is this the same Boaz? Like, why Boaz don't want your ass?
Boaz is the name of that ruler. Yes, that was his name, Boaz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And on top of the columns was lily work. Thus the work of the columns was completed. And he made the seat of cast metal, 10 cubits from one rim to the other, round all about, and 5 cubits high, and a line of 30 cubits measured around it. Mm-hmm. And below its rim were ornaments all around, 10 to a cubit, all the way around the seat. Mm-hmm. The ornaments were cast in 2 rows when it was cast. It stood on 12 oxen, 3 facing north, and 3 facing west, and 3 facing south, and 3 facing east. And the sea was set upon them, and all their back parts were inward. So this sea is a huge basin of water. And it sits outside in the open, the basin. What you said they used that water for?
This was for cleansing the animals for the sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this huge basin of water set on these carved oxen that was carved out of bronze. It was a sight to see. And it was a hand's breadth thick, and its rim was shaped like the rim of a cup, like a lily blossom, and it held 2,000 baths. So 2,000 baths worth of water. So that's a lot of that's big. They called it a sea, but it probably was like a pool. We probably call it a pool today.
Yeah. And it was made of brass. That's why they call it brazen sea.
And he made 10 stands of bronze. Each stand was 4 cubits long and 4 cubits wide and 3 cubits high. And this is how the stands were made. They had side panels, and the side panels were between frames. And on the side panel that were between the frames were lions, oxen, and cherubim, and a pedestal above on the frame. Below the lions and the oxen were wreaths of beaten work. And each stand had 4 bronze wheels and axles of bronze, and its 4 feet had supports. Under the basin were cast supports beside each wreath, and its opening inside the crown of the top was 1 cubit, and the opening was round like the work of the pedestal, 1.5 cubits. And also on the opening were engravings, but the side panels were square, not round. And the 4 wheels were under the side panel, and the axle of the wheels were joined to the stand. And the height of a wheel was 1.5 cubits. And the wheels were made like chariot wheels. Their axle pins and their rims and their spokes and their hubs were all cast.
So they had rims, spokes, and hubs. And y'all thought it was just bruised these days that was into rims.
How do we know we the same people? My man put rims on and these was like, so you had the big sea, the big pool. These was like side pool. You know what I'm saying?
So these were for, so think about this. Just so happened we watched a video where someone did an AI and showed what these things would have looked like in their mind. I don't think everything was accurate, but it was good. We showed it to the children. It was a good depiction for them to put a visualization to what was being described. I like that because for little children, sometimes they can lose interest as we're reading the words, but with the description, they were then able to say, okay. And so the brazen sea was again where they would have cleansed the animals for the sacrifice. But if you think about how many animals would have had to been provided, as we said last week, in order to make sacrifices for all the people who were coming to this place, that was a lot of animals. And for all of those animals to be sacrificed, it would have required a lot of Levites. And so aside from the brazen sea, there was a bunch of these mini pools, which were like sinks. And so probably bigger than the sink that you would have in your bathroom, but these were outdoor mini areas where the Levites didn't have to stand in one line because they had a bunch of them, so they could go cleanse themselves. So that's what that was.
But they were sitting on rims.
And they had rims and spokes and hubs. Sitting on 24s.
Same people. Because ain't nothing new under the sun. Okay.
Well, when you read about Ezekiel, that's the kicker.
Yeah.
Because now you're not talking about a chariot for man. You're talking about a chariot for the word of Yahuah. And even that had rims. And spanners.
And you read about how the Bruise like to wear chains, man. We thought that this chain, this was a new thing. But Bruise been wearing chains. We've been wearing chains with maybe not Jesus pieces, but since way back.
Yeah, it was always symbolic, but not just among Israel's, some of the other nations as well.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. And then and there were 4 supports at the 4 corners of each stand. Its supports were of the stand itself.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of the stand, half a cubit in height, round all around. And on the top of the stand, its flanges and its side panels were of the same. And on the place of its flanges and on the side panels, he engraved cherubim, lions, and palm trees, according to the clear space on each, with wreaths all around. He made the 10 stands like this. All of them were of one mold, 1 measure, and 1 shape. And he made 10 basins of bronze. Each basin contained 40 baths. Wow. And each basin was 4 cubits, 1 basin on each of the stands. And he put 5 stands on the right side of the house and 5 on the left side of the house. And he put the seat on the right side of the house to the east, facing the south.
So you could easily have more than one brother cleansing in each one.
Yeah.
And when I say cleanse, I don't mean climbing in and submerging their body. I just mean standing around it and using
these
it.
These things were huge. Like this, like it was big. It was big. The sea, they called the sea. They called the sea because it was huge.
Yep.
And these holded 40 bath waters worth of water.
Yep.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And Hiram made the pots and the shovels and the bowls. And Hiram completed doing all the work that he was to do for sovereign Shelomoh on the house of Yahuah. And 2 columns and the bowl-shaped capitals that were on top of the columns, and the 2 networks covering the 2 bowl-shaped capitals, which were on top of the columns. And the 400 pomegranates for the 2 networks, 2 rows of pomegranates for each network to cover the 2 bowl-shaped capitals that were on top of the columns. And the 10 stands and the 10 basins on the stands. And the 1 sea and 12 oxen under the sea. And the pots and the shovels and the bowls. And all of these utensils which Hiram made for sovereign Shelomoh for the house of Yahuah were of polished bronze. Mm-hmm. The sovereign had them cast in clay in the district of the Yarden between Sukkoth and Zarathan. Y'all remember how Sukkoth got his name, right? Jacob, remember we read about that? And Shelomoh left all of the utensils unweighed because they were many, nor was the weight of the bronze searched out. So Shelomoh made all the utensils for the house of Yahuah, the slaughter place of the gold, the table of the gold on which was the showbread, and the lampstands of refined gold, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left in front of the speaking place, with the flowers and the lamps and the snuffers of gold, and the basins and the snuffers and the bowls and the ladles. I'm about to say.
And the ladies. Ladies in the temple. Ladles.
And the ladles and the fire holders of refined gold. And the hinges of gold, both for the doors of the inner house, the most set apart place, and for the doors of the house of the Hekel. Thus all the work which sovereign Shelomoh had done for the house of Yahuah was completed. And Shelomoh brought in the set apart items of his father Dawid, the silver and the gold and the utensils, and he put them in the treasurers of the house of Yahuah. Where do you think Og's sword went? After Dawid.
Oh, Og's sword.
Was that what it? Goliath.
Goliath's sword. Probably in Shlomo's treasury.
It probably was Og's sword, seeing as how one Goliath, the son of Og.
I don't think we read it.
Okay.
Not sure. Since Rhea brought it up, Boaz, why Boaz don't want your ass? It's a catchy title. This is a YouTube that Ak monologue Magad his Isha does. Yeah. And I like the sentiment though, because if you guys remember who Boaz was the ruler who took on Ruth, Torah. And Boaz is known as the kinsman redeemer, This is another similitude of Messiah being our kinsman redeemer. And she made herself, she made it known that she was willing to do whatever it took in order to be redeemed. And he redeemed her. And so I like the title. I feel like it's catchy because what is being talked about is what don't fly. If you, and this is a occultist doing something for the occultists. I like that. If you call yourself trying to make the kingdom and you want Messiah to choose you, what probably is not going to fly? What may need to be worked on or corrected? And thus it's titled, Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass.
A lot of cultists swear they want them a Boaz. Everybody wants them a Boaz. Like the most like just okay for the cultists who like romance novels or whatever may have you. But Boaz in the scriptures would have been the most, you know, what he did for Ruth, it was the most beautiful love story ever, you know. Like I've never seen that love story duplicated. It was a beautiful love story.
It's a story of Mashiach and the assembly as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of, you know, women in the truth, you know, swear they want them a Boaz. And so the culty named her podcast like Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass. Because, you know, like, you know, you have this mentality and you want you a Boaz, but you ain't no Ruth. Right, you know what I'm saying? And so Ruth, you know, her the way she was, like, how you gonna get you a Boaz, but you can't be a Ruth? You know what I mean?
So check that out if y'all like.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay, chapter 8. Then Shelomoh assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes and chief fathers of the children of Israel to sovereign Shelomoh in Jerusalem to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahuah from the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled to sovereign Shelomoh at the festival in the month of Ethanim, which is in the 7th new month. Question: if he assembled them at the festival in the 7th new month, do y'all think y'all might know what this festival was? Type it in the chat if you think you know. And all the elders of Israel came, and the priests took up the ark and brought up the ark of Yahuah and the tent of appointment and all the set apart utensils that were in the tent. And the priests and the Levites brought them up. Yes, the priests were Levites. The distinguishing point here is that the priests is a description of the ones who actually worked with the temple and in the temple. Where it says the Levites is talking about those whose job didn't necessarily dictate they actually entered the temple, but they were still Levites, and they did other jobs that attended to, say, for example, the utensils and stuff like that. Okay. Verse 5. And sovereign Shelomoh and all the congregation of Israel who had assembled with him were with him before the ark, slaughtering so many sheep and cattle that they could not be counted or numbered. And the priests brought in the ark of the covenant of Yahuah to its place, into the speaking place of the house, to the most set apart place, under the wings of the cherub. Remember the cherub that Rib described last week? And now this is the first time that any slaughtering is being done at this place. This is the first time that that this festival is being done post Shelomoh completing this temple that's being dedicated to Yahuah. So this is a very significant point. It's almost like dedication.
And it was a huge cookout, y'all.
It was a huge cookout.
Huge cookout.
So much barbecue you couldn't count it.
Man, they had barbecue for days. Little kids was walking around with little pieces of leg.
Sauce all over their
You know
mouth.
what I'm saying? They
Fingertips all grubby.
Where your mom at, boy? Go get cleaned up.
Get over there to one in bases.
Trying to touch my white linen.
Okay. Verse 7. For the cherub spread 2 wings over the place of the ark, and the cherub covered over the ark and its poles. And the poles extended so that the ends of the poles were seen from the set apart place in front of the speaking place, but they were not seen from outside. And they are there to this day. Well, to the day they was writing this anyway. There was not inside the ark only the 2 tablets of stone which Moshe put there at Horeb. There Yahuah made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Mizraim. And it came to be, when the priests came out of the set apart place, that the cloud filled the house of Yahuah, so that the priests were unable to stand to perform the service because of the cloud. For the esteem of Yahuah filled the house of Yahuah. And Shelomoh said, Yahuah has said he would dwell in the dark cloud. I have indeed built you an exalted house, an established place for you to dwell in forever. And the sovereign turned around and blessed all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel was standing. And he said, Blessed be Yahuah, power of Israel, who spoke with his mouth to my father Dawid, and with his hand has filled it, saying, Since the day I brought my people Israel out of Mizraim, I have chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house for my name to be there. But I chose Dawid to be over my people Israel. And it was in the heart of my father Dawid to build a house for the name of Yahuah, power, almighty power of Israel. But Yahuah said to my father Dawid, because it has been in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well that it was in your heart. Only you do not build the house, but your son who is coming from your loins, he does build the house for my name. Now, Yahuah has established his word, which he spoke, and I have been raised up instead of my father Dawid, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Yahuah promised, and build a house for the name of Yahuah, power of Israel, and have appointed there a place for the ark, wherein is the covenant of Yahuah, which he made with our fathers, when he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Shelomoh took before the slaughter place of Yahuah, in front of all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands toward the heavens, and said, Yahuah, power of Israel, there is no power in the heavens above or on earth below like you, guarding your covenant and loving commitment with your servants who walk before you with all their heart, who has guarded that which you did promise your servant Dawid, my father. Indeed, you have both spoken with your mouth and have filled it with your hand, as it is this day. And now, Yahuah, power of Israel, guard what you promised your servant Dawid, my father, saying, there is not to cease a man from before you, a man of yours before me, sitting on the throne of Israel, only if your sons guard their way to walk before me as you walked before me. And now, O power of Israel, please let your word come true, which you have spoken to your servant Dawid, my father. For it is true, power dwells on earth. For is it true? Power dwells on earth. See, the heavens and the heavens of the heavens are unable to contain you. How much less this house which I have built? So Shelomoh did understand that this house could not actually contain Yah. It was only meant as a representation of a place that Yahuah would dwell when he came to fellowship with us.
I mean, it said the heavens of the heavens can contain.
Okay. This lines up with what I was saying to you children earlier when we were talking about time and man's time versus Yah's time. We can't put Yah in man's time. He created man's time for man. He created earth for man. He created this temple as a representation of something where his esteem would dwell when he dwelled with us. But let's not be ignorant of the fact that this temple was never meant to be his literal permanent dwelling place. It just couldn't hold y'all. See, the heavens of the heavens are unable to contain you. How much less this house which I have built? Yet shall you turn to the prayer. Yet shall you turn to the prayer of your servant and his supplication, O Yah, my power, and listen to the cry and the prayer which your servant is praying before you today. For your eyes to be open toward this house night and day, toward the place which you have said, my name is there. To listen to the prayers which your servant makes toward this place. Then shall you hear the supplication of your servant and of your people, Israel, when they pray toward this place. When you hear in your dwelling place, in the heavens, and shall you hear and forgive. So listen, if you wonder to yourself why, when as Israelites we pray toward the east, we're not praying toward the sun, believe it or not. We're praying toward this set apart place where Yah said he set his name and would hear when we pray toward this place. If we were in another direction of the map, we would pray toward that direction if that was the direction where this place was.
So when y'all see pictures of bruise on the hieroglyph and the relief, what's it called?
The Lachish relief.
The Lachish relief, and you see the bruise with their hands like this praying towards the east. This is why all Hebrews, this is the scripture in verse. This is why all Hebrews pray
especially
towards,
in the Americas, yeah.
Yeah, in Americas pray towards the east. And let's say they was far east, they would pray west. Because they would be praying, they will be facing Jerusalem. And this is the reason why. Okay. Because of what Shelomoh said here.
Okay. And it's recounted again in more detail in Chronicles. But yeah, this is where that is. Here's where you find why. If anyone, verse 31, if anyone sins against his neighbor and he has lifted up an oath on him to cause him to swear and comes and swears before your slaughter place in this house, then hear in the heavens and act and rightly rule your servants, declaring the wrongdoer wrong, bringing his way on his head. You say accountability. And declaring the righteous right by giving him according to his righteousness.
Okay, real quick, what Shelomoh getting ready to say now is prophecy. And so this show you that he was a prophet because he had no way of knowing this because he knew peace. And so he was speaking about a future time. He was speaking about us.
He was speaking according to the word. And here, again, like Reb said, he's speaking as a prophet. Just like Dawid sometimes spoke as a prophet. So then he says, when your people, Israel, are smitten before an enemy because they have sinned against you, as Moses said we would. And then they shall turn back to you and confess your name, not Jesus, not God, not Lord, but confess your name and pray and make supplication to you in this house. Then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your people, Israel, and bring them back to the land which you have gave to their fathers.
Like, how did he know that? Like, so at the time, the bruise was living in peace. How did he know that there was going to come a point in time where we was going to be kicked out of the land?
We was going to do something so atrocious that Yahuah allowed us to be removed from our land. When the heavens are shut up and there is no rain because they sin against you, when they pray toward this place and confess your name and turn from their sin because you afflict them, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your servants, your people, Israel. For you teach them the good way in which they should walk, and shall give rain on your land which you have given to your people as an inheritance. You're teaching them by punishing them, by reprimanding, chastising, scolding, And then when they realize, oh, I messed up, and they turn and repent, meaning they turn from their sins. He said that. Not just ask for forgiveness, but turn from their sins. Then give them the rain. You've now taught them, okay, I won't do that again. Okay.
This is also true why the name so important. So Shelomoh just gave you a recipe.
Yep.
A recipe to reverse things,
even the curses.
Cain, right?
Yep.
So things is going wrong in your life. So peep game. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He just gave you a recipe. So it's important to know his name. It's important to call on the right name. Yep. Because that's one of the ingredients that it takes to make this recipe successful.
It's important to be able to identify when Yah is trying to tell you something, as the old song used to say. When something is wrong, not quite right, off, things are not falling in place the way that you think they should fall in place for a servant, right? Because he said here, declare the righteous right by their doing. So in other words, you're going to favor the righteous by giving them things that let them know, yes, I'm good with what you're doing. Keep doing that.
Yep.
And so when we in our lives find things aren't going the way they should go, maybe God's trying to tell us something.
God's trying to tell you something. You know, can't sleep at night.
God's trying to tell you something. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Cried all night long.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And they shall turn back with their heart. Is that where I'm at?
No.
Skip some stuff, didn't I?
Yeah. You 35, I think.
Goodness. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, you are 35. Did you read 35?
And turn from their sin because you afflicted them. 36. Then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your servants, your people Israel. For you teach them the good way in which they should walk, and shall give rain on your land, which you have given to your people as an inheritance. When there is scarcity of food, famine, all you surrounded by is GMOs. You know the GMOs is the master famine, right?
Yeah, they trying to cover the adversary crafty. He's trying to cover up Abba moving.
Look for real food and see how hard it is to find real food, and you'll know why it's important to grow your own food. When there is scarcity of food in the land, when there is pestilence.
You know, what's your friend called? What's your boy? What our boy called it?
Peasy, not Peasy.
Yeah, Paisley.
Paisley?
What do you call it?
What do you call it?
What Paisley call it?
Pestilence.
No. Dang it.
Blight.
What you call it? What do you call it? No, it ain't nothing.
Mildew. Let me know what you think of it. Locust. Grasshoppers. When their enemy distresses them in the land of their cities with any plagues, sickness. So even when your enemy is distressing you, whatever prayer, whatever supplication made by anyone of all your people Israel, each knowing the plague of his own heart, and shall spread out his hands toward this house, then hear in the heavens your dwelling place, and forgive, and act, and render unto everyone according to all his ways.
That's key.
Whose heart you know.
Key. That's key because a lot of times, you know, we be like, why is ABC D going wrong in my life?
And we want to blame everybody else.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, sometimes it be vanity because we be like, I can't be doing that wrong. Look at Job. So what lesson did we learn from Job? Job say he ain't done nothing to deserve what was happening to him. You know what I'm saying? His friends was like, because of this scripture, because they know the scripture, his friends was like, well, the wisest man in the world teach us that if your life messed up like this, you got to be doing something like, maybe you didn't feed the hungry when you had an opportunity. Job, like, not only did I feed the hungry, I got 42 feeding sinners set up. You know what I'm saying? Job was just like, I ain't doing nothing to deserve this. And his friends like, you must be doing everything to deserve this. But what the Most High was saying, I needed Job to change something. So when we know that if your life ain't sitting where you want it to be. And it just don't feel right. Stuff study going wrong, stuff study coming up. You're like, how did this go wrong? How did this? And it's Abiyah is trying to tell you something. He say, Shelomoh say, give according to their heart, or give according to how they are. So like how you being blessed or how you being chastised is what's in your heart. So Abiyah is giving you according to what is going on in your heart. And if it's going down like this, just humble yourself. Throw yourself on the altar.
And as head of household, how your house is being blessed or punished is according to how we are operating our house. And so this is why, even when you get into the so-called New Testament, when Paul is discussing leaders of assemblies, there are some rules in place, husband of one wife, well spoken of, in other words, above board by all of the community, able to rightly rule his household. How you gonna run an assembly? And we see this, right? Like we see examples of camps and organizations and assembly, and your own house is out of order. How can you run an assembly and your house is out of order? Let's start with, and I think this is a general rule of thumb for me, in my opinion. Let's all focus on ourselves, right? If we could all focus on ourselves first and foremost, and our individual houses, I think that would be a great leap forward for the entire nation. Let's not worry so much about, what Aki and them doing over there. What a Koti them doing. Because I got enough problems right here, personally, and then within my own house.
Don't find your righteousness from somebody else's wickedness.
Okay.
So just because, she's so-and-so, she's sleeping with someone. Do that make you feel better?
Right.
Do that make you feel closer to the Most High? Do that make you feel righteous because she's sleeping with someone?
So you good then,
right?
Huh?
Yeah, I guess you good then, huh?
Nah, we can't do that, fam. We can't do that. Okay. I should have left my finger on that one instead of feeding my face.
I think 40. Yeah, I think you're on 40.
40. I was finishing up 39, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, because in the end of 39, because you and you alone know the hearts of all the sons of men, so that they fear you, beginning of all wisdom, right? All the days that they live in the land which you gave to our fathers. Also, concerning a foreigner who is not of your people, Israel, but has come from a far land for your name's sake. What? Wait a minute. People outside of Israel, y'all gonna deal with them? Let's see what he said. Since they hear of your greatness and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, and he shall come and pray toward this house here in the heavens, your dwelling place, and do according to all for which the foreigner calls to you. So that all the people of the earth, meaning Gentiles, heathens, who we refer to as heathens, know your name and fear you and do as do your people Israel, and know that this house which I have built is called by your name. So look, because Shelomoh epitomized this example when he was doing what he was supposed to do. Every nation around looked at this kingdom and said, this has got to be they may have said God of gods until they got with Israel. It was like, no. This is Yah. That God you worship, whoever it was, the God of the Phoenicians, this is a creation of Yah. Don't worship him. Worship Yah. Come on in. We'll explain it to you. That's how we were supposed to be operating. That's how we were supposed to be operating. Let us show you the way, so that all nations understand that you are who you say you are, and you have lifted us up. Why? To exemplify and direct people to you and show who you are. You lifted us up to show the world who you are. Not because of anything we did, as the Christians love to say. Not because of our own righteousness, as the Christians love to say, but to show the world him. So Shelomoh had it right at one point. Okay. 44. When your people go out to battle against their enemy, in the way that you send them, and they shall pray to Yahuah toward the city which you have chosen, and toward the house which I have built for your name. Then shall you hear in the heavens their prayers and their supplications, and maintain their cause, for they sin against you. For there is no one who does not sin. So when Hamashiach said this, he was repeating what Shelomoh said. And you become enraged with them and give them to the enemy, and they take them captive to the land of the enemy, far or near. And they shall turn back unto their heart in the land where they have been taken captive, and shall turn and make supplication to you in the land of those who took them captive. You know, like we do it right now.
Peep game, y'all. This is another recipe.
Saying, oh, we have sinned and acted crookedly. We have committed wrong. First, we got to acknowledge it, right?
Got to acknowledge it, y'all.
And they shall turn back to you with all their heart, not part of their heart, not half-stepping, not half-assed, as our parents used to say, but whole. With all their heart and with all their being in the land of their enemies who led them astray. And I make that, I'm not trying to be funny. It's a little funny, but fam, that's what a lot of Israel doing. They half-assing it. It's like, okay, I know I'm Israel, I'm good. No. Okay, I know that there's some law, I'm good. No, you can't do this half-assed. You got to do this whole-assed.
To the what it say? To the law and to the witness.
To the law and to the witness.
You got to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got some rules who come back. You know, the fact that we waking up like this is prophecy. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we reading this is destiny.
Yes.
And so y'all peep game, you reading this, you getting the cocktail, you getting the ingredients on how to come back. You know what I'm saying? And so you got some rules who waking up law only. And you got some rules who waking up witness only. But the scriptures say to the law and to the witness. They walk with me.
I'm listening to him shooting.
Where he walking whiskey?
He's inside. Is whiskey back in?
No, you're around walking.
Okay, let's get them back in. Y'all don't hear them shooting outside? Yeah. And so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so but scripture say you need both. You need to the law and to the witness. What the witness mean? Witness mean the Messiah came and showed us. So you had the rules who was losing, but they was keeping the law.
Yeah. And
they couldn't understand why.
Yeah.
I'm every Shabbat I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat unclean meats.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And the Messiah came to bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The law tell you don't fornicate with a man's wife. Mm-hmm. Don't commit adultery by sleeping with another man's wife.
Don't taste.
Right. I'm telling you to even think about that man's wife is adultery.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So this he showed you what Abiyah meant.
Yeah.
Before you start finding all back alleyways to get around the law.
This is all part of Messiah's testimony. And so to the witness or the testimony, those two words are synonymous. That means you must have not just the law, but also the testimony of Messiah. You can't have, belief on Jesus, but think you can't keep the law and think you're going to make it to the kingdom. And you can't only have the law, but don't have the testimony of the one true Messiah, Yahushua, and think you're going to make it into the kingdom. You must have the law and the testimony.
That's what Shelomoh meant, with your whole heart.
Okay. You
got to come back with your whole heart.
In spirit and in truth. There's another one of those words. And they shall turn back to you with all their heart and with all their being in the land of their enemies who led them away captive, and shall pray to you toward their land which you gave to their fathers, the city which you have chosen, and the house which I have built for your name. Then shall you hear in the heavens, your dwelling place, their prayers and their supplication, and maintain their cause, and forgive your people who have sinned against you, and all their transgressions which they have transgressed against you, and give them compassion before those who took them captive, and they shall have compassion on them. Listen, I heard somebody say that mercy was only found in the New Testament, but I'm reading right here where Shelomoh says, if they could humble themselves to turn their stiff neckedness and turn back to you and acknowledge that they did sin, because you know Israel stiff necked. I ain't do it. I ain't do nothing. That's it. It was the white folks. They did. It was racism. It was Trump. It was everybody else but me. I was side up. I've been to prison. Ain't no way for me. School system set up against me.
Everything designed to go against me.
The court system set up against me. Everything is against me. I have no fault or no culpability. No, Negro. You must accept culpability. But if you can do that, and if you turn back in supplication with a humble and meek spirit, this says that Yah will give you compassion right here in the so-called Old Testament. For they are your people and your inheritance, whom you brought out of Mitzrayim. Whose inheritance? The word's inheritance. Out of the iron furnace. Let your eyes be open to the supplication of your servant and the supplication of your people Israel, to listen to them whenever they call to you. For you have separated them unto yourself as an inheritance out of all the people of the earth, as you spoke by the hand of your servant Moshe. Out of all the people of the earth, he has separated you, Israel. When you brought our fathers out of Mitzrayim, O Master Yahuah. And it came to be, when Shelomoh had ended praying all this prayer and supplication to Yahuah, that he rose up from before the slaughter place of Yahuah, from kneeling on his knees with his hands spread up to the heaven, and stood and blessed all the assembly of Israel with a loud voice, saying, Blessed be Yahuah, who has given rest to his people Israel, according to all that he has promised. There has not failed one word of all his good word, which he has promised through his servant Moshe. Yahuah, our power, is with us, as he was with our fathers. He does not leave us, nor forsake us, to incline our hearts to himself, to walk in all his ways, and to guard all his commands, and his laws, and his righteous rulings, which he commanded our forefathers. And let these words of mine, with which I have made supplication before Yahuah, be near Yahuah, our power, day and night, to maintain the cause of his servant and the cause of his people, Israel, the matter of each day in its day, so that all the peoples of the earth might know that Yahuah is power. There is no one else. Let your heart therefore be perfect to Yahuah, our Father, our power, to walk in his laws and to guard his commands as it is this day. And the sovereign and all Israel with him slaughtered slaughterings before Yahuah, and Shelomoh slaughtered slaughterings of peace offerings, which he slaughtered to Yahuah, 22,000 bulls, 120,000 sheep. Thus the sovereign and all the children of Israel dedicated the house of Yahuah. On that day, the sovereign set apart the middle of the courtyard that was in front of the house of Yahuah, for there he made ascending offerings and the grain offering and the fat of the peace offerings, because the bronze slaughter place that was before Yahuah was too small to contain the ascending offerings. So he did it right there in the open court. And the fat of the peace offerings And Shelomoh at that time performed the festival, and all Israel with him, a great assembly from the entrance of Hamath to the Wadi of Mitzrayim. The assembly that was there at the temple went from the entrance of Hamath all the way to the river of Egypt before Yahuah our Father, our power. 7 days and 7 days, 14 days. On the 8th day, he sent the people away, and they blessed the sovereign and went to their tents rejoicing and glad of heart for all the goodness that Yahuah had done for his servant Dawid and for Israel, his people. Wow.
Mm. Can I get whiskey in Israel?
That's deep.
That is.
That is something else.
That is.
Give us a second, fam, while we collect these two from outside. You want to let Natasha come to the mic real quick?
Yeah, come on, Cole.
Now, I was asking when we was talking about the baths, and I'm not sure if I read it somewhere or if I seen it in a documentary where they had the underground water that came up to cleanse it.
Oh yeah, the cyst.
Okay, yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
That is in the letter of Aristides.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, I know I've read it somewhere where they talking about how the water, like they was talking about the bath and how the water would come up, and it was a constant like system where they come and it cleanses the water through the whole time. Because I think me and Zion was asking me, he was like, well, how they kept getting clean water, and that's what made us end up reading it.
Yeah. If you go there today, you can still see it. That's why they were saying that how the temple couldn't be where they say it is today. Because they found those underground cysts and the water still run. It's like it still run. It's still fresh water, still run under it.
Wow. Because it was making me think about indoor plumbing. They were saying that's why every time I think about it, I'm like, it's nothing new under the sun. Because they already had before indoor plumbing even came about. That's probably where they got it from for the underground pipes and stuff.
Yep. That's something. Y'all, let me tell you something. What Shelomoh just like spoke into existence, y'all, it's imperative that y'all hear that and y'all pay attention to that. Like that whole thing that he said is like highlighted. I don't know if y'all probably can't see because of the lights, but that whole thing is like highlighted in my book because it's gold. I mean, like once we start applying those certain things to our lives, everything changed for us. The game changed. Everything changed for us. You know what I'm saying? And it really show you why there's this movement to get rid of the Old Testament. Because the Old Testament had all the keys to our redemption. They had all the keys to our redemption, and they got all the hints as to who we are. You know what I'm saying? And like we're getting ready to read, what we're getting ready to read in this first part of this next chapter is another clue to who we are. And so that's why in most of these churches, there's this huge movement to get rid of the Old Testament. You got some churches, when you pick up the Bible starts with Matthew. And you like,
go out and pass them out to people.
Yeah. And you're like, why is there this movement to get rid of what's quote unquote called the Old Testament? Like, who named it the Old Testament? Like, what's the goal? And it wasn't until we came in this truth and started seeing us in this Old Testament that it became clear. Not only does it reveal who we are, it's the key to how we can come back, how we can find our way back. So if I was the devil and my goal was to prevent that from happening, then yeah, I would have to get rid of that. I would try real hard to get rid of that. Y'all gotta, and this is one of those, what we just read, this is one of those. One of them keys, they get the keys, they get the keys.
Gave him the key for the giving to me.
Yep.
Not yet, thank you.
I had a quick question for chapter 8. When Shelomoh finished his prayer, because even when Yah was talking to him in the beginning, and he told him, if you live as your father David, then this will happen, that will happen. And then in his prayer, when he's praying for us in future prophecy as well as those then, do you think that Yah may have showed him what he may have done in order to lose the kingdom? So he was praying for his children? Like the way they did with the 12 patriarchs and how they was warning their children, if you do this, this, and this, then this will happen. But if you keep this, then Yah will bless you this way. Do you think he showed Shelomoh his fall, and then that's why he prayed the way he prayed?
I think that's a possibility, but I also think that the way the Ruach work, so somebody who the Ruach is using a mouth, the Ruach, one of the things I have discovered, like when the Ruach start using somebody's mouth and start speaking to them, the Ruach say what need to be said in that moment. And the vessel don't all the time know why they're saying what they're saying. Because like one of the things that the Most High is big on is not us not knowing our tomorrows, us not knowing our end. Because that's kind of like a cheat sheet. So the thing is, if Shelomoh would have known that, you're gonna get with a lot of women, you're gonna err, whatever, or you're gonna do something to err, that's kind of like a cheat sheet. Like
kind of like Pharaoh knowing that if he didn't let people know, it's gonna be the demise of Egypt.
And so Abiyah is real big on us having a choice in each one of our decisions.
Remember,
day by day,
Moses forewarned the assembly of their missteps. Noah forewarned his children of their missteps. I think that Shelomoh, like Rev said, had he been forewarned of his own missteps, that would have been one thing. But what I do believe is that Shelomoh, being as read as he was academically, and knowing all of the writings of his forefathers that came before him, I do think he would have understood the prophecy that Moses spoke about in Deuteronomy. I think he would have understood what Noah wrote about, and even some of what Enoch wrote about, and in him understanding that, I think that he probably knew that this was a future event. I don't think that he personally, this is my personal opinion, I don't think that he believed that he was going to be the reason that the kingdom was ripped apart, because he doesn't read like the type of personality that thought he would have made that type of misstep.
The one to be the, and Shelomoh was, I don't know, Cole. I personally, I'm kind of with him. I don't think he was too smart for that. And so if he had any hints that he would be the one to cause this rift in our nation, I'm sure he probably would have calculated his steps a lot better than what he did. But I mean, that's just it. So like Shelomoh was saying, you know what I'm saying, Abiyah warns Noah about his children. Not necessarily like told Noah about his, like the scene, like, Noah did some things that caused, he was a drunk. Like, so like, had you not, like, had Abiyah got, like, if you don't get drunk on this night, then, you know what I'm saying, Cain would, Ham, Cain will never come to be. And if Cain gonna be a big pain in the butt for a lot of your children, you know what I'm saying? But, I don't know. That's my own personal, like, I agree. I don't think, Abiyah really don't do that with us, you know what I'm saying? I just think sometimes when the Ruach talk through somebody, you ever had somebody,
it's a possession.
It's a possession.
It's like a spiritual possession. I believe that these brothers, and if it was Coates as well, that the Ruach used them. It literally take over their body. Communicates what needs to be communicated. And when it's over, Maybe they remember it. Maybe they don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess it really, yeah, because you do see, you see kind of like proof to both of them. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they remember, sometimes they don't.
Maybe it's situational.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Chapter 9.
All right. So what's 14? Yeah. Okay. And it came to be when Shelomoh had finished building the house of Yahuah and the house of the sovereign and all the desire of Shelomoh, which he was pleased to do, that Yahuah appeared to Shelomoh the second time, and as he had appeared to him in Gabon. And Yahuah said to him, I have heard your prayer and your supplication that you have made before me. I have set this house apart, which you have built, to put my name there forever, and my eyes and my heart shall always be there. And you, if you walk before me as your father, David, walked in integrity of heart and in uprightness to do according to all that I have commanded you, if you guard my laws and my right rulings, then I shall establish the throne of your reign over Israel forever, as I promised David your father, saying, there is not to cease a man of yours on the throne of Israel. So the same promise that Abiyah made David, he was not extending this to Shelomoh. So not only just a man of David's lineage, but now a man of Shelomoh's direct lineage.
Yep.
If you at all turn back, you or your sons, from following me, and do not guard my commands, my laws which I have set before you, but shall go and serve other mighty ones and bow yourselves to them, then I shall cut off Israel from the face of the soil which I have given them.
Pause. Read that again.
Then I shall cut off Israel from the face of the soil which I have given them.
So again, that's not just saying I'm going to punish them. That's saying I'm going to literally remove them from this place. That's going to be literally part of their punishment. Okay.
And send away from my presence this house which I have set apart for my name. And Israel shall be a proverb and a mockery among all peoples. So now, Cole, look at the way the Most High did that. Did Abiyah know that Shelomoh was going to serve other mighty ones and bow himself to him? Yes. Did he try to warn him in a roundabout way? It looks to me that way. I mean,
that's a direct way.
Yeah,
if you follow, if you do what I said, walk in integrity.
But did he word it like, now you gonna, Shelomoh, son, you're gonna be tempted to go and bow yourself to other mighty ones. If you do that, you're gonna cause Israel to, you know what I'm saying? No, he gave it in a general sense, like, bruh, you know what I'm saying? Because he didn't say, like, if you what's another sin? If you disrespect your mama and the memory of your father, then I'm gonna cut off Israel. No, out of all the sins, it's 10 of them, the 10 commandments, you know, out of all the commandments, the one he dealt with was the worship of other mighty ones. So was that a warning? Absolutely. But I mean, you know, it wasn't Israel's stiff-necked.
Yes.
You got to be kind of direct with Israel. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, and his house, and this house, which you have established, exalted, everyone who passes by it shall be astonished and hiss and say, so wait, let me deal with something else. So he said, I shall give them and send away from my presence this house which I have set apart for my name, and Israel shall be a proverb and a mockery among all people. Now, do you guys know what that means? He said, Solomon asked for wisdom. You telling me he didn't recognize that water? Well, because he vanished, he's a hell of a joke. She said, nigga. Yes,
a byword, a proverb.
Yes.
Yep.
So even African American, a two continent thing. Before we was, Negro, we was Negro. You know what I'm saying?
Even to that, the whole astonishment idea. You know, when the world looks at Black people, African Americans, as we are portrayed in the media, it is an astonishment. Oh, how you telling me Black Lives Matter when y'all kill yourselves? When y'all kill each other in the hood? Oh, welfare queens.
Look at Sexy Red. She's
Sexy Red. Yeah.
She is causing our women to be in astonishment.
Bywords, proverbs, and this is in Deuteronomy as well, right? mockery,
Yep.
astonishment. Yeah.
So now y'all emphasize this. Like, if y'all do this, Israel is going to become a proverb and a byword and a mockery. Okay. And the house which has been exalted, everyone who passes by it shall be astonished and hiss and say, why has Yahuah done thus to this land and to this house? Then they shall say, because they have forsaken Yahuah their power, who brought their fathers out of the land of Mizraim, and they took hold of other mighty ones and bowed themselves to them and served them. That is why Yahuah has brought all this evil on them.
Also, a second again. So listen, y'all, this is going to be repeated. It's going to be repeated even in other parts of the Book of Kings. So this place was exalted so great that all the nations that surrounded understood who these people were and who Yah was, right? So every one of these nations, when Yah does what he eventually does to us, this is prophecy. And they ask and say, why has Yahuah, the almighty power, the God of gods, why did he do that to those people? And then they say, it is because they did this and thus and so on and so forth. Well, at some point we read that we ask, like the girl on that TikTok, why does everybody hate us? Why does everybody do this to us? Okay, so the response should be to then go and seek the old ways and find out. Because the beginning of repentance is first asking the why. And then after you ask the why, you go and seek and find out, oh, it said I was going to. This is how it hit. This is how it hit, and it lets you know this is talking about us. And this is talking about you.
And let me show you how easy it is to do what Shelomoh did. So, like, I know we think that, like, had we been Shelomoh, we would have never been stupid enough to do nothing like that. Let me show you how easy it is to put another mighty one before the Most High. The way we live today, it's many of you right here, right now. If you've seen Beyonce, will probably pee your pants. You'll go crazy. If Beyonce walked through your front door, you would probably charge yourself. That is worship. You have placed her in a position of a mighty one. It's many of you that feel that way about money, about your cars, about your house. Sometimes she said, "No, sis." Well, maybe we are of a different generation, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? That's how easy it is. For some people, it's food. You know what I'm saying? For some people, it's food. For some people, it's sex. For some people, it's men. For some women, it's you know what I'm saying?
For some people, it's a particular TV series.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Some people, it's a status that you feel you have achieved through your job or your work,
your degree,
or your education.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You be like, I have a man, I have a PhD, whatever, and for some people, it's your job. You're astrophysics. You making 7 figures, 8, 9, 10 figures. What you gonna think about when they say, it's an important dinner, the boss needs you there on Saturday? You gonna say no? You know what I'm saying? So, like, we look at what Shelomoh did, and we like to say we'll never be fool enough to do it. But it's real easily done. Okay. And it came to be at the end of 20 years that Shelomoh had built 2 houses, the house of Yahuah and the house of the sovereign. Hiram, the sovereign of Zor, had supplied Shelomoh with cedar and cypress and gold, as much as he desired. Then sovereign Shelomoh gave Hiram 20 cities in the land of Gilgal.
A kingdom.
Man. And Hiram came from Zor to see the cities which Shelomoh had given him, but they were not right in his eyes. And he said, what are these cities you have given me, my brother? And he called them the land of Kabul, as they are to this day. Think about the Kabbalah.
Okay.
But think about the way they think about Hiram Abiff. Like, they put Hiram Abiff up there with Shelomoh. You know what I'm saying? With that worship.
Well, it says he was very wise, yeah.
And Hiram sent the sovereign 120 talents of gold.
And this is the purpose of the compulsory labor which Sovereign Shelomoh raised to build the house of Yahuah and his own house, and Milo or Milo, and the wall of Jerusalem at Hatzor, and Megiddo, and Gezer. Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, had gone up and taken Gezer and burned it with fire, and had killed the Canaanites who dwelt in the city, and had given it as a payment for the bribe to his daughter, Shlomo's wife. For the bride to his daughter, Shlomo's wife. And Shelomoh built Gezer and Lower Beth Horon and Baalath and Tamar in the wilderness in the land of Yehudah. And all the stored cities that Shelomoh had, and cities for his chariots, and cities for his cavalry, and whatever Shelomoh desired to build in Jerusalem and in Lebanon and in all the land of his rule, a city for storage. Storage cities. Too much stuff to keep right there with him.
Needed a whole city to contain it.
So this city's people job was
That's
to
their whole
maintain
job.
whatever was being stored in that city
Where y'all work at? The storage unit. The storage city.
and get paid good.
Man, you already know.
Yeah, we Shlomo,
That's the
Shlomo
government
people.
job. That's the
That's
government
government job. That's right.
Mhm. Good pay.
And all the people who were left of the Amorites and the Hittites, the Pezerites, and the Hivites and the Jebusites, who were not of the children of Israel, their descendants who were left in the land after them, whom the children of Israel had not been able to destroy completely, from these Shlomo raised compulsory labor, as it is to this day. But Shlomo did not make slaves of the children of Israel because they were men of battle. And his servants and his rulers and his officers and commanders of his chariots and his cavalry. These were the chiefs of the officials who were over the work of Shlomo, 550 who ruled over the people who did the work. But the daughter of Pharaoh came up from the city of Dawid to her house that he built for her. Then he built Milo. And 3 times a year, Shelomoh brought ascending offerings and peace offerings on the slaughter place which he had built for Yahuah. 3 times a year. And he burned incense with that which was before Yahuah, thus gave completeness to the house. And sovereign Shlomo built a fleet of ships at Etzion Geber, which is near Elioth, on the shore of the Sea of Reeds, in the land of Edom. And Hiram sent his servants with the fleet, seamen who knew the sea, to work with. Are you okay? Goodness.
You think they laughed at the word seaman?
I think so. And Hiram sent his servants with his fleet, seamen who knew the sea, and to work with the servants of Shelomoh. And they went to Ophir and took 420 talents of gold from there and brought it to the sovereign Shlomo.
You know what, Kosi? I believe that Shlomo probably at this point in time thought he was too smart to fall out the grace of God.
I think so. I think that was the whole issue. He was too smart.
I'm about to say that. I think
yeah.
Part.
Yeah. Kind of like the
Job.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think he was too intelligent to do something. So, Abiyah was warning them, but he was too intelligent to do something like that. It wasn't gonna be him.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because like when you read Ecclesiasticus, the way that it reads from somebody who
Ecclesiastes,
not Ecclesiasticus, my bad. It read like if you believe that was Shlomo who wrote that, it read like somebody who had a big head and in their vanity, you know what I'm saying? Because he was like, I sought to learn all there was under the sun to learn, and that too is vanity. It's vanity. It's all vain. It's vanity. Like he speak of somebody who, you know, and I like to pray that in the end he came back to the Most High, because Ecclesiastes read like he did, but
Proverbs read like it does.
Yeah, but the deed was done, and
yeah. I think also, and I'm going back to what Koti brought up about the cisterns under the temple. One of the cool things about the animation video that we watched with the children last week was that it showed you that this elevated portion of the city where the temple was built and where the house of Shelomoh was built was in the city of Dawid, and geographically on the sides of it was at least two, I'm trying to remember, at least two rivers. And it helps you kind of get a visual of where this natural spring was probably coming from that was written about in the letter of Aristias. So it's easy to visualize that was probably the water supply. And somebody who was genius in their planning for this construction probably understood and chose that site. And it was designated by Yah, but yeah.
Because that sea that they talk about, the pool,
yeah.
It had to be drained
yeah.
and refilled daily, because
on a regular basis.
Probably 2-3 times a day, because all that blood,
Yeah, and the blood was unclean.
Yeah.
The blood would have kept the temple in a defiled state.
Yeah.
So it's imperative that you had to have a constant way to continuously flush anything that was unclean away from the temple. And so that was really what was beautiful about reading the letter of Aristias, because when you read that, it's kind of like an aha moment, because before reading that, when you read about just how many animals were sacrificed, you're like, well, heck, this place had to be overflowing with blood.
That wasn't the temple that Aristias seen. Aristias saw Nehemiah them temple.
But it was in the same place.
It was the same place, yes. But
yes.
He missed. So he was impressed with what Nehemiah and them.
It was the same people.
Same people.
Yeah.
But not the same Shelomoh did. Aristias couldn't. He didn't see this. He didn't see this
okay.
work of art.
All right, family. Hallelujah. That was a beautiful, beautiful read. That middle chapter. Probably could have split that one up. Anybody want to add anything before we close out for the Shabbat and go to stuff in our face?
Oh yeah, I got me some soup. Calling my name.
Come on up, sis.
You can put mine in the bowl.
I just want. I know we didn't get to that part yet, but I just have to ask, because I know, like now, even with us as we reading it, we trying to like come back into. But with Jeroboam, and he seen what Yah did to Shelomoh, and he understood it even when the prophet went to him and told him to rip his clothes, and he gave him the 10, and he kept the one for Solomon's son. When he seen it, and I know he went down into Egypt, do you think he picked up the ways of the Egyptians while he was down in their country and then brought it back? And because of his fear, he didn't want the people to leave. I know that part, but like he seen what y'all did to Shelomoh, and he went and did the same exact thing. I just didn't get that part.
It said that because what Abiyah had already spoken to Shelomoh, Abiyah spoke it. So that means it wasn't none to it after that, but it to be walked out for things to happen. And so it said that Jeroboam was getting bad advice from his advisors because he messed around and made his advisors his friends. So like he didn't go the way of his father and grandfather, who made learned men of the community, the elders and stuff, his advisors. He made his boys his advisors.
And he decided that it was a spirit, sis.
It was a spirit.
He decided that he was going to be Okay. Can y'all still hear us?
Mic check, mic check.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
told her. Yeah, I think it was a spirit, sis. Because, like I say, he decided he was going to make the labor on the people worse than what his father did, and it was his mission. It was almost like it was his mission to piss the people off.
Yeah,
and that's what he did.
He just ran it down.
Because the elders tried to warn him, and then he goes and talk to his friends. And sometimes I'll be looking at, like, with my son, I'm like, you really gonna go listen to them idiots over what I tell you? But I think, like, that's just the way they think sometimes, because they don't think you know anything. When the elders tried to warn him.
Now, Koti, Shanti baby, you said you be watching the videos, but where can you learn more information? Like, what you mean, babe? What kind of information?
Yeah, I was going to ask you the same thing. Come to the mic and tell us exactly what you're looking for. Help us out. Sit down, please. I meant it. I'll let you know. You there, sis?
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. Most of the times when I have questions, I kind of just text Kimmy and ask her, and she gives me insight. But I know she told me, like, for certain things, like, just do research. So I think I told you guys I'm on, like, Exodus and just like anything regarding Hebrew. Like, Slow-Mo, your brain is amazing. I want it. It reminds me of one of my doctors I work for, with like like everything you remember.
Oh wow, Torah. I don't know. Well, you got a particular subject you looking to dig into a little bit more? Because both of our general answer is just keep reading most of the time. But if you want to do a topical study, then we might be able to direct you somewhere.
So like the Passover. Because I just finished reading about that, and then the festival of the unleavened bread. And then I think my mom got mad at me because I told her we can't have bread in the house for a week.
You can have bread, you just can't have bread with leaven in it.
Yeah, you got to make y'all bread daily.
Yeah.
And like, it's actually a feast of unleavened bread, so every day you're supposed to have unleavened bread.
Yeah. So is what you want to dig into on Passover about how to keep Passover, or about Passover and how Passover connects with Messiah and prophecy and stuff like that?
Everything. I guess for right now, how to keep it. Because I know it says you're not supposed to work on the first day. It's set apart. On this, I think it was the 7th or the 8th day, it's set apart.
Yeah.
But
so
in the middle right there.
Got you. Leviticus 23 is the first place to start. And it's going to give you all of the feast days, including Passover, and an overview of how to keep it. Exodus, help me out, y'all. Is it Exodus 12? That goes into the original Passover, which was as we came out of Egypt.
So that's an example of us keeping it in a land that's not Jerusalem.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a video on Passover. We have a couple of videos on Passover on the website. If you want to check those out.
And on YouTube, do we have one?
I'm in on YouTube. Yeah. I'm in on YouTube. If you look at the website, we've got the actual scriptures that we discuss in those videos. But in general, sis, you could type things like that into YouTube, and usually you'll find a good amount of Israelites talking about those topics.
Because what Shelomoh did on YouTube was like, if you go in his videos and his playlist, he got a playlist called Feast Days, is it?
I think so. Feast days or appointed times.
Yeah, where he even gathered videos on the subject that he liked.
Yes.
So like true. The elders,
not just our videos.
Yeah, elders did a good one.
Yep. Let me see if I can help you out.
And we probably gonna do a conversation about it the closer we get to Passover.
Yeah.
You know, just like for the babies.
I'm not gonna risk the internet connection. I apologize.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go to the YouTube page and look at, just in general, if you look at the playlists that I have saved, they're not all videos that we did. They're just videos that I found to be good research videos.
They helped us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Videos that helped us. And so and they're mixed in with the videos. So there is a playlist on feast days or appointed times. I forget what the title is, but yeah, that might help. And yeah, any other research topics that you're looking into?
Really soon, like get your calendar. Go ahead and get your calendar for 2024, because if not next week, then the week after next, we're probably gonna do the calendar video where we gonna everybody get their calendars and we just make sure we got the dates right, the times, whatever, and then we can probably go into detail a little more about it then, just like how we do it, how we do it here, like not say how we do it is like the way to do it, you know what I'm saying, like the only way that you can do it, but we'll share with y'all how we do Passover,
and y'all can share with us how y'all do Passover.
You know what I'm saying. We can read about how the scriptures say we supposed to do it,
right? And we can talk about how some other people do it.
Hey, because was there the Passover bridal auction at one time?
And then the Passover strip club escapade.
Oh my goodness. So we'll
thank you, sis. I appreciate you posting that link.
Yeah, we'll have us a nice discussion.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see some crazy things on YouTube. That's what I say is you can research by topic on YouTube. The main thing is read it for yourself so that you can see when people are doing things that make you go,
Yes, because you'll be amazed. There was a Passover at the strip club.
By brews who say they know they brews.
That happened.
That's
a true story.
In 2023, right?
Yep. The strippers was passing around the cocktails for the Passover.
He defended himself. He said that was not during Passover. That was after the last day of unleavened, and they went to celebrate on the 8th day.
In the strip club.
Like it was right. In the strip club. Like it was right. That's right.
That's what he said.
Video saying Passover.
Wait a minute. Okay,
the
well,
video
look. Well, that explains it all. I'll stand corrected.
That makes everything better. Videos
just said. He should have just said, you know what? I was wrong. I have to repent. Not you're gonna say that was the 8th day celebration.
They was out there trying to recruit the girls from Magic City.
That's what they said.
Because he said
he was out there trying to save souls.
Listen. I ain't gonna call nobody out, but do y'all remember the Passover? It wasn't a bridal auction.
It was an auction.
It was an auction, but I ain't gonna say it was a bridal auction. There was some marriages didn't happen. Do you remember the Passover? They was auctioning off the women.
Yeah, their coat tees. I remember that.
I ain't gonna call out which group, but there was the Passover women auction.
Yeah.
Can I say it?
No, Cole. We ain't gonna. That's not why we here. We not here to do that.
This is just to say, be forewarned.
Be forewarned. So, baby, before you go,
study to show yourself approved.
Looking, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Pray and ask Yahuah to guide you to righteous study material, because there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, and let me be clear. Again, we share videos and I collect videos of other brews that I think do excellent studies, excellent breakdowns. So I'm in no way trying to say that our YouTube channel is the one place you must go to in order to get the correct understanding on anything. Because I still go to look for other ox and elders to get better understanding. But I will say this, on YouTube, it's hard. It gets harder and harder to find good set apart information, which brings me back to my main issue and my main statement for my family here in the house with me and for y'all as well, is there is no substitution for reading it for yourself. There's absolutely no substitution. And we got to remember that there's a difference between reading your Bible and studying your Bible, and both are necessary in order to get to where we're trying to get to. Both are necessary. But great question, sis.
Yep.
And if you think of something else, like I said, that you want some direction on, and Kimmy or any of the coaches have questions on as well, you want to ask us, or you want to ask during these live sessions, it's cool. We can do that. We can do that.
What are you here for?
Thank you. I know I texted you something the other day about a screenshot because I was getting confused about the names, but
yeah, I responded, right?
Yeah, you was like, you on the right track. I was like, okay.
Okay, yep.
Because I really needed to write out and look at, and I was just like,
yeah. That looked, yep. He was doing good. I LOL'd you because it was so organized. It was so it was so put together and pinpoint. And I'm like, oh, I see you very organized.
You said about the names.
Yeah, she was trying to get an understanding of whose name was who, what name, the powerful name, Yahushua.
Yahuah.
And so she typed it out. Or did you text that out or type that out? But it was,
I got it typed up in a Google Doc.
So in a Google Doc. Okay. So it was so organized and pinpoint. I just chuckled. It was, she's like, just help me out. I just want to make sure I'm on the right track here. And I was like, wow, that's very impressive. Because I would text out like, okay, you've been scrapped, but it was very neat.
Hallelujah. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Did you raise your hand? Oh. Y'all ready to do your calendars? Is everybody bought a calendar?
Everybody got the calendar for 2024?
Yes.
All right. Y'all ready
you
for
already got
FaceTime?
yours put together?
Waiting on y'all.
Okay. I'm going to let you know.
Waiting on y'all. Yeah.
Y'all all witness Coach Colleen invite us to her house to do the calendar. And I try to get in contact with her today to try to get a definite, will this be this week or will this be next week? But it's gonna be within the next 2 weeks. If I don't get back, if she don't get back to me, then we'll just do it here. But it's definitely gonna be within, if not next Shabbat.
Not next Shabbat. It's not gonna be next Shabbat.
Okay, then the following Shabbat.
Yeah. What I'm doing is we're making sure we got ours together here. That makes it easier to share because you already got it together. Double check everything, make sure you're good. But we caught a couple things this morning.
We did the count and it fell into line. See what Shelomoh did this year was something different. He was like, okay, we're gonna try to, before we do the so it's easy to just to count, continue your count from last year or whatever may have you, to determine what's gonna be a one this year. But he's like, before we do that, we're gonna just do that to verify what we find. Let's try to find it just by looking for day-night equality.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did that, and we came up with the date. And we did that last week. And this week we actually counted it out and it hit. It was right. It was correct. So
hallelujah.
That felt good.
We're gonna get y'all there.
Yeah. So I mean it's just, each year you do it, you get a little better. You know what I'm saying? I can bear witness that each year you do it, and like Baby Shanti and Bree, this is gonna be our first year. You know what I'm saying? And Koti Tina, and a couple, I think Koti Tahisha, is this your first year? I don't know. I know anyway, you guys see what I'm saying? Like each year came. So each year you do it, I promise to get easier and easier, but it's
and then
exciting
you start
time.
once you do it repetitiously, first of all, you see the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you start to be able to see the layers and nuances of the things that Yah is doing with his calendar.
Mm-hmm.
that you wouldn't see if you weren't actually working it out. You know, if you just let somebody tell you every year, okay, what day we getting together on, you going by what they say. But once you start doing it yourself, you actually see.
Yeah, and once you see them patterns,
you make that connection. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it just all fall into line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Feast time, yay! Feast time.
All right, family. It is, as always, been a blessing.
Yes.
To be in the fellowship with y'all one more time. Blessed to be in the service. And if it's y'all's will, we will see y'all again next Shabbat. I pray y'all have a blessed week.
Shabbat shalom, family.
Nevertheless, I must confess. Yes, this is Project Wake Up Jacob. On the Sabbath we rest and reflect upon his goodness. Because I got it by the Ruach Kodesh. Yes, whenever I get dressed, yes, I'm dripping Kodesh fresh. Yes, this style fit me down to a T. Because I'm a ruffian, discussing precepts from the holy manual of his constructions. And TZ's cover 4 corners of my garment. Greet me with shalom before you step into my carpet.